Chair, I can't hear anything. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Councillor White, can you hear us now? Councillor Campbell, can you hear us?
Ek kan hoor, dankie.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just check. The chairperson of SAFA, can you hear us?
Good morning, sir. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to start the meeting within the next minute. Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If IT and committee service are ready, we can start this meeting. We do have a quorum. A warm welcome to every one of you. My apologies for starting this meeting 20 minutes later, but that was due to, we were still waiting for some councillors to physically come, as well as for those that are joining us via Teams. And then also there was a problem with our sound. So we are back on track. Thank you very much. Let me welcome all councillors of this committee, starting with Councillor Sabah, Councillor Lowe, Councillor White, Councillor Campbell, Councillor Matika. Yes, he's online.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you very much. Then also warm welcome to the officials present, starting with the acting municipal manager. Welcome, sir. The director, community service, acting director, planning development, and her committee, management, the manager, committee services, and the team. Thank you very much. So, the attendance register, everybody have signed. Okay. Members absent with leave. I have an apology from Councillor Grootboom. He needs to attend to he's having a doctor's appointment at 9:30. So he did send me his apology. That's the only one that I've received. Councillor Matika will be physically here a little bit later, as well as Councillor White in person. They will joining us a little bit later. I also have, so without leave, there's none. Other councillors present, there's none. Officials present, I did indicate. Members of the audit committee, there's none. Members of the public, let's go to item number 3, noting of provision of code of conduct for councillors and declaration of interest. Thank you. Before we, okay, let's do it like this. The confirmation of the minutes, then we're going to go to the presentation. So we're going to go to 4.1, minutes of the previous meeting of 7 March 2024 on page 4. Can we note?
Yes, Chairperson.
Seconder?
Second, Chairperson, second.
Thank you, Councillor Matika. Councillor Campbell, I see your hand is up.
I just wanted to second, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then let's go to the minutes of 18 March 2024 on page 13. Councillor Lowe.
Chairperson, I just want to find out on that minutes on page 17. Did we liaise with Langeberg and Saldanha municipality around that the residential property relocation of short-term holiday rentals? And did we as the municipality send another letter out to the homeowners of these rentals of the Naisna around the previous letter that was not correct? Did we inform them, the Naisna residents around it? Because it's very important that when there's letters or notices going out, and it is the incorrect notice that is going out, we have to correct it by sending the right notices to going out to them. My question to you is that, did we do that? Did we liaise with Langeberg and Saldanha municipalities so we can get more information around it? Thanks.
Acting Director.
Good morning, Chairperson. May I please request Mr. Smith to give us an update on this item? Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
Chair, we did liaise with the municipalities as well as the
planning officials from provincial government and to establish if they regulate short-term holiday rentals through the zoning scheme bylaws, and I got confirmation that they're not regulating that. There is a council resolution that we need to amend the zoning scheme bylaw to address short-term holiday rentals, because at the moment it does not. And it's also one of the projects of the Section 154 support plan to review the zoning scheme bylaw. Relating to the letters, there was a non-compliance notice sent out initially that was in error. So we did write a letter to the 80 property owners to inform them that we withdrawing the non-compliance letter because it was erroneously sent out to everyone. So that's where we are at the moment.
Thank you. Councillor Low.
Thanks, Chairperson. Is it possible that you can send that letter, that email that you sent to them? Can you forward it to me, please, man, if you can get it? If I can get it through you, Chairperson, if you can get that has been sent out. So we can also, so I also can see that that we have it, and I see it in front of me. If I can get that, Chairperson, I just want the notice that go out, because we are representing the public. And when we're representing the public, we also must be informed that we have it in front. So when the public asks us, I can show them this is what we have in front of us. Can you send that email or that notices also to me as a councillor of this and as a public rep of the National Municipality?
Councillor, okay, which one was first now? Councillor Sabah, go first, and then Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want to state that if any request is made by a member of this committee for documentation, that it be sent to all members of the committee, not just to one. So if we could just amend what Councillor Lowe is requesting, that any correspondence that will be sent to all members of this committee, please. Thank you.
Duly noted. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, remember in the presentation, it turned out that our current zoning scheme allows short-term rental to families only. And it was basically, we were supposed to also inform people of that. It was, when Mr. Munro spoke, he made it very clear that the current bylaw does allow short-term rentals, holiday rentals, but only to families, and he made it very clear that does not include golfing tours, groups of friends, people, a bunch of people coming together for a birthday party. So that has to be addressed in a letter or in a circular that we send out. We should put it on our Facebook so people can understand that. So if you're going to rent out short term, you've got to make sure it is to a family. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So there was a request by Councillor. I've taken note of your comment, Councillor Campbell. Upon the request of Councillor Lowe, can I then request Mr. Smith that you send out a notice or that letter to all committee members?
Chair will do so.
Councillor Lowe.
I just ask something. What we always do is that before we finish our meeting, so we can we have it before we finish our meeting? Because it must be on your system, on your laptop, because you're supposed to have it. Can we have that? Can I get that? Because we don't want a situation, then it's not, we don't have it. I just want all of us to have it. So we can know that we have it. So when someone asks us, we can show them this is the date that the letter have gone out, and this was the notifications. That's all that we want before we finish this meeting.
Councillor Sabah.
Chair, I think that the question has been asked and it's been answered. It is confirmation that the letter will be circulated and we will receive it. So I think that we can move on. I also just want to note that in terms of the definition of family, we need to look at the definition of what a family is. It's quite a broad definition, and we need to look at historically our South African content of family. I mean, family is not just your mother, your father, and maybe your children. There's a definition of family, so it's not just, it's not a restrictive definition, it's quite a broad definition, and I think we need to look at that. We need to be mindful of definitions as per the regulations and as per the bylaws. Thank you.
Noted. Councillor Campbell? Councillor Campbell? Councillor Campbell, can you hear us?
I can't hear, but that's an old hand.
Okay, noted. Thank you very much. Then, committee, can we then note the minutes of 18 March? Yes, Councillor Sabah?
In terms of the minutes, there's an indication on SP 030324, Bihar Maintenance Management Plan. Recommendation B, it says here that the municipal manager ensure that 300,000 be included in the annual budget for 2024-2025. Now, that was the balance of the 300,000 from this current year. It was supposed to be moved to the next year. I know that there's a budget of 1 million, but there was no indication that the carryover of 300,000 would be. So just clarity, is the 1 million rand that has been allocated in the budget for the next financial year an additional 700, or is it 1 million rand plus this 300,000, so 1.3?
Chairperson, sorry, Acting Director, to you and Pam.
Thanks, Chair. There's an amount on the capital budget for the Bongani. My understanding is that there's no amount on the capital budget for the Bihai, but there is an amount of 200,000 for the Bihai, and the service provider has been appointed. So currently, we're going to proceed with the RFQ that was advertised and awarded in the old financial year, in the new financial year. Does that answer your question?
You may.
It's just that the minutes indicate that that 300,000 will be included in the budget. So just in terms of the minutes, we just need to make sure that we address it adequately. So hence why I asked the question. There's a lot of work that's required there, and we did have a budget of, I think it was 2.5 million, of which we spent some, and then there was, I think, deviations of environments that took place, so the amount reduced quite significantly. And there was a 300,000 left over. And we all know how that impacts on the community in and around that area. So I just want to make sure that there is correct, sufficient budget going forward into the next year, and that it actually gets addressed in this financial year that we move into now, from the 1st of July. Hence why I raised it. Just wanted to be recorded. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you... Okay, can we leave that one, Councillor, to our... There is item 6.8. Then we also get... can I request you, when it gets to that item, that we get the Acting Director Infrastructure here, as well as the CFO, so that we can get clarity around that funding and the budget, in fact. Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, can we now move? Members? Thank you. Then, before we get to the execution list, committee, I do have the Western Cape chairperson of SAFA, as well as the deputy chairperson of SAFA Western Cape, here to do us a presentation with regards to an event that they would like to have in Knysna in October this year. I had a session with the deputy chairperson yesterday, and I've actually requested them to come and do the presentation this morning in this Section 80 meeting due to the fact that it can give us an opportunity to bring people to Knysna during the month of October. It's a great opportunity. So yes, without further ado, I just want to get let me just check here, sorry, my apologies. Do we have the secretary, I think, Mrs. Constable, as well as Mr. Modipa online. Can we, Mr. Modipa, are you ready?
Yes, Chair, I'm ready through you.
Okay, thank you very much. You can proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me take this opportunity to greet yourself, the honorable councillors that are in this meeting, the officials also that are here present with you, all protocol observed. My name is Danki Somodipa. I'm the chairperson of SAFA Western Cape. I'm also serving at SAFA National under the president, Dr. Jordan. And I'm also the president of SAFA Overberg in Caledon, in Overberg region. Thank you for allowing us, the committee and you, Chair, that we present our intentions to host a national event at your area, which is your town, Knysna. We were informed, actually we requested because previously most of these national events are taking place between KZN and Gauteng. They always bid for this event, and us as Western Cape football, we are always not considered when it comes to national events like this. Mostly because it is well known that this kind of events are televised and go through social medias and all over the place. So it gives attention to those provinces and promote them when it comes to football under SAFA leadership. So luckily enough for me, my deputy chairperson of the province is from Knysna, Mr. Chris Chawana. So we decided, myself, between me and Mr. Chawana and Ms. Constable, who's the secretary of the province, that this event must not take place anywhere except the small areas, which is the smaller regions or district. Because this kind of event, as much as I said, it is dominated by provinces like KZN and Gauteng. When it do come to Western Cape, the only place that SAFA National want to host this kind of events is in Cape Town. They classify Cape Town as Western Cape. So we have decided also to change that notion, that the smaller areas or the rural regions or rural district must also be afforded opportunity to host such events. So from our side, if possible, Chair, I'm not sure who's controlling the meeting, so that our secretary, Ms. Constable, can share the presentation that we have brought. It's two presentations, where one is the implementation plan of the event, which is SASO League National Playoffs. And the second one will be official budget that we have drafted, the projections. So based on that, we will present, and I think the committee can then determine if they will be able to partner with us, as we are requiring partnership to host this kind of event So I'm not sure, Chair, if it can be allowed so that Ms. Constable can share the screen so that we can start with the presentation. But while I'm still on the floor, I can request also that we had since April started working with the local organizing committee, which mostly is based on Garden Road, which is Eden. We have appointed certain people to different roles, which are familiar with the area. We were required to have two towns, which is the first town, which is the option which we can submit to SAFA National, and also the second town, which can be a backup if the first town is unable for any reasons not to host such event. So the committee, the executive committee of the province has decided on your town and also as George. So those were the places that we agreed upon to or that were identified to host this national event. 9 provinces winners in Sasol League will represent their fellow provinces, including ours, which is Western Cape. So you will be expecting the people of, I think, the clubs, around 270 people. And there will be a TV crew. There will be also most of our LOC members who come from different areas in Western Cape, but mostly from your area there. So I just wanted to share those kind of things on the screen so that when I present, I put the council in confidence or the committee in confidence, I beg your pardon, so that you can clearly see what I'm talking about. So that's what I can request for now, Chair, so that I can go through these things whereby everybody can see it, if it's possible.
No, thank you, Chairperson. I can then immediately give over to Nadia Constable to take us through the presentation. Thank you. Ms. Constable, can you hear?
Yes, good morning. I can hear. I'm just busy trying to access. I just want to make sure, is anyone seeing anything?
Yes, we can see you're busy on the screen.
So I zoom it a little bit. Can you see the implementation plan?
We only see there's a couple of documents which include the implementation plan, but you must open it.
It is open.
No, it's not. You must share the
Double
screen.
click on it, Nadia.
No, I'm stop sharing. I think I need to share my whole screen. Can you see it now?
There you go. You can now proceed. We can see it.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I will just go through because, as I indicated, it's quite a lot of points that are there, but I will just share the main ones so that you can understand what I was saying earlier.
Yeah,
The
just take note.
second,
Sorry, Chair. Just take note that
yes,
you
yes.
only have about 10 minutes, for for your
Oh, okay.
presentation.
Yo, so I was not aware. I was not aware. Thank you so much for telling me. No, I will just browse through the screen so that we can see. Okay, Nadia, the second slide. Yeah, this is just the progress and the status verification that we put ourselves from what we're gonna do as a LOC under my leadership of the Western Cape. So this the third is just the colors. If we finalize them, the key output that we set ourselves, if it's green, it's finalized. Red running behind the schedule. Amber is just it's in progress. So number 3, Nadia. Go through, Nadia. We have only 10 minutes. In the implementation plan, the first thing that we had to do is appoint the LOC and project manager, identify the venue, which we decided first on at George, and we agreed that we will, if we don't get anything that is official from George, then we'll go to the second town, which was Neisner, because of the stadium at Tanikwa Stadium that we have identified and went to visit. But we also visited the Neisner stadiums in April. So that's what we had to basically do. But at the moment, we haven't received, like I said, anything official from George. So we had to appoint the LOC, the project manager, identification of a venue, which was George, the identification of a stadium, and we also had to arrange the issue of finance, the safety and security, the accommodation. We will send, obviously, this implementation plan to you, Chair, and your committee, so that you have it in your disposal. But what is important is what will be required when we host in Neisner for this event, if you agree that we can go there, because we haven't, based on the timelines, we haven't received anything from George officially to host us. So number 4, Nadia, and you must browse quickly because my 10 minutes will be over. Nadia,
It is on number 4.
go to number 5 then. So here it is just the key output. What is relevant to you is the issues of management of guests, which will have to work with the council or with the Neisner municipality. At number 12, issues of transport, issues of emergency, the indemnity part, the indemnity forms is our part. The drivers for the events that will also create some work or employment for your members there in the area as the hosting region. So you can proceed, Nadia. That's part we need to advertise in conjunction with you, the event, the invitation also. We need to work hand in hand with your municipality. The branding, if your branding will also be allowed to this, the coverage of event, equipment, entertainment, etc. So those are the things that I think we will require. And basically based on that, it will determine the relationship or the partnership that we request to host the event there at Neisner. So I think we can just browse through the budget also, Nadia. And then I think from my side, I will be done, Chair. And most of this information then we'll send it to you. If I was proactive yesterday after I had a call with you, I could have sent it through so that you have at least opportunity to go through it. But my deputy is also there to add, maybe if I forgot something. Mr. Chawana?
Mr. Chawana, you can come and join us here for any clarities?
Just in the implementation plan, if there's anything that we need to cover that we didn't cover.
Okay, good morning, Mr. NEC member. Welcome to this meeting. Is there anything that you would like to add?
Good morning, councillors, chairperson, and officials. For now, Chairman, we have done everything. I think what is important was to go through the budget and try and show the council that the importance of why we must have this event in Neisner and what economical boost is going to do within the revenue of the town when we're having this national art event in Neisner. I think the budget will speak to that in terms of how many people are coming through to Neisner and what magnitude this tournament is going to have within the Neisner area. For now, I'll stop there, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chawana. Through you, Chair.
Yes, you may proceed.
Okay, I will just check. As you can see, we have projected for accommodation teams, which is 9 provincial winners. We have projected 1.693. That's for accommodation only. You will have 30 per team. As I indicated earlier, it will be 270 participants. Then there is also additionals, but those are also covered on the key figure, which is 1.6. That is for accommodation. Then you will have your meals also included, which is the lunch for 9 teams, lunch for 4 teams, which the teams that we're talking about is the invitation teams, but normally is the teams that the school teams, as you saw on our implementation plan. There is indemnity forms and schools that we're going to invite just to play a few games, specifically the ladies, because this is going to be the ladies tournament. So that's basically what we can present to say the key figure for all 9 teams, and the additional invited teams will be 1.6. The accommodation of referees, which is PSL referees that should be there, it will cost us, the projection will be 200. That is the amount that we projected based on our inquiries and research in your area. So we allocated those kind of money for amount of 9, if I'm not 10 referees, 1 driver, because we need to have match commissioner. We must have 4 of them. Their lunch and meals is for 22, because those are the officials that will be there. For our accommodation operation is 214K, which is the amount that we projected with the finance committee, that it will cover most of those things. Facility inspection, which is needed, we have to go to see if there is anything that can be done. We will then deal with that part. Nadia, you were too quick for me. Oh, okay, thanks. But we projected around 14,000 for that. The flights, accommodation, and meals, that is for us to go and do physical inspections for the venues, check if we will be able to meet with the national and present NISNA to them and ensure them as people who are hosting where is what accommodation. So that's just the projection for our facilities and inspections. The transportation, which is going to be the big one, is 585, and it's on the first block it shows for who, which is the officials from Joburg. That should be here because it's a national event. Committee members, which is 2, that is national ones. Referees, officials, that is 5. Branding and so on. I won't waste the details. But the KZN teams 1.640, 1.730 as you go along. So that's basically what we budgeted for. But the key figure is around 582, 585, 200.
Chairperson, Chair,
Yes, sir.
um,
Yes, sir.
without delaying you, can I ask you to give us, because you're giving us your budget breakdown or your projections.
Yes.
Is it monies that will be covered by SAFA, or is it money that you will need from Knysna municipality? Because I think what is important is for what you would like Knysna municipality to assist with. Although you can send us the budget downbreak, but I think the important or the gist of this presentation is for you to tell us this is what you want us to look at as a municipality, and what you want, what you can then offer as South or Western Cape. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, Chair. No, thank you very much. I think it's fair enough. What we projected in total, as I was going through the key figure is 3.7 something million. That is the amount that is required, estimate amount that is required to host the national event. Knysna municipality can determine from what I've already alluded to, and all those things that I've mentioned, or the breakdown itself, what they can then afford to assist us with. Because it's our event, South or Western Cape, so we need to then check the partners, as I indicated on my opening remarks, who can be our assist us to host this kind of event. Basically, the provincial government also, we have engaged them. They will also tell us this is the amount that we can afford as the provincial government. The host city or the host town will also then say we can cover 1, 2, 3, so that we make it easier for you. We are not going to determine for the municipality to say you can cover, maybe for instance, the transport, or you can cover the accommodation. The municipality will see what budget they have for such events. Then they can then advise us to say this is what we can assist you with as South Western Cape.
Okay, thank you. Something that you want to add, Deputy Chair?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. Just to add on what the chairman is saying, since the event, it's SAFA national event hosted by the province. SAFA national, they will also contribute to the event. But the reason we're bringing the event tonight is that we want to check if what assistance municipality can bring in terms of the projected budget that is there. If, let's say, municipality is saying that, okay, we can cover the facilities, we can cover the securities, we can cover this part as Knysna municipality, then that will send it to head office, so that head office can say, okay, this part will be covered by us, this part will be covered by your partners. But then the seriousness that we are bringing to Knysna is because of it's a magnitude of the tournament. Because the tournament itself is going to bring people from outside Knysna, the entire country, they will come there. And also the tournament itself, the final of it will be broadcast live in terms of on Sunday, where the dignitaries, Dr. Jordan will be here himself, and some of the sponsorship. So that's the exposure that we want to give to the town. Hence, I've chosen this town. But depending on what the municipality is bringing on board in terms of their side to partner with us. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So if we as a municipality at this stage, we would tell you now that we can secure you the venue.
No, Chair, I'm not going to answer on that one, but depending on what municipality can provide to us, then as a PEC will sit and said, okay, the municipality said they will provide the venue, they will provide ABCD. So what possible? Where can we are going to have the shortage? Where can we go and look for assistance again? So from our side, we'll wait for the municipality.
Okay, thank you very much. I take note, and we take note of your presentation. I will allow now for questions of clarity, and then we will take it from there. Thank you. Councillor Lowe, I've got Councillor Matika.
Thanks, Chairperson. Thanks, the Chairperson, the Deputy Mayor. I just want to greet all the officials, the MM. Also, I want to greet the leadership of SAFA Western Cape, Mr. Madiba. I also want to greet Mr. Chris Jawani, the one that have served under me, Mr. Madiba. you are very fortunate to have someone that has served under me in 2006 in the National Local Football Association, and now I'm very glad that he's now the deputy president of SAFA Western Cape. So, Mr. Madiba, you are very fortunate that in this municipality you sit with someone that come out of the school of football. So mine will be very supportive of bringing this event in this to Nice now. Because I believe that sport and football have a way of bringing people together. And this town of Nice now can host an event like that. And why I'm saying this, in 2010, Nice now was the only town in the whole country that was have 2 World Cup teams that was host in Nice now. And you will have the full support of Councillor Lowe from the EFF to try and maneuver this committee to accept the proposal that you bring to us. You know, sometimes we as a municipality want to look into the figures and said, now this is 3-something million rand. But we don't understand the spin-offs after that that will come back to this town. Maybe there will be people that coming to the town for the first time, and then they will be part and parcel of that. So that's why I want to make one request, and one thing that I want to say is that don't worry now about we're waiting for a letter from George. The letter is ready in Naisna to be signed. So you don't have to worry about that. Naisna is ready to sign this letter, so Naisna can be the host. And we will deal afterwards around this cost and what the Naisna municipality have to contribute. Because I also want to make a suggestion to this committee and to the municipality and through directly to the MM that we also must engage the business chamber of Naisna. So they can also be part and parcel of this, because the B&Bs, the hotels, the shops is going to benefit out of this event. So you have my full support around that. And then also on that note, on your LOC, that there must be a representative coming from the Naisna municipality to serve on that LOC. And I will prefer that the chairperson that are dealing with planning, development, and tourism to be part and parcel of that, and or official of the department also to be part and parcel of that. That will be my request to SAFA. And so you have my bind-in into this whole event of bringing football, and especially women football, to our town of Naisna. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Sabah. Councillor Sabah and then Councillor Matika.
Thank you, Chair. I think we obviously, as an Naisna municipality, would welcome such a tournament. I think it would be premature for us to say whether or not we could host it. We need to understand the financial implications, not in terms of just budget, but also resources that are required. So I think that the commitment would be that we would obviously want to engage and try and see to what extent we could assist in terms of being able to manage and host such an event. I think it would obviously be good for the town. I completely agree with that approach. But I do think we need to be mindful of our financial implications and what it is that we as a town can offer. It would be completely foolhardy for us to turn around and say, yes, we can do it, when in actual fact we haven't done our sums. But most definitely it is something that we would agree to. I don't want to make it a political thing. I think that it's a municipality and we speak as members of the Section 80. So, but obviously we need the homework to be done. But yes, completely would support such an event going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Matika.
Morning. Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the leadership of SAFA. Greetings, councillors. Chair, from my side, we will support such event. And I think all the role players needs to meet urgently to look forward in terms of our finance and budget, your community service, your, your finance department, and as well as tourism to check how can we assist in terms of assisting this tournament. So I will support it that it's one of the biggest events that will be ever happening in our area. So it will need all the support that it can get for basically saying that let's proceed with planning and see, and then we revert to them how much we'll be able to assist, as well as community service and tourism and finance to look at the current budget that has been approved, where we can get assistance, where we can get resources to see exactly how much. It should not be about money that, it's 3.7, then it's quick for us to dismiss and think, it's a lot of money. We might not fund the full amount, but we must see that where we can assist and say that, okay, there's money tourism, there's money at sport development. If we mix this money, it could make a certain amount that is budgeted for. Then we could have this event, because this event, the final will also be televised. So it also bring a broadcasting that will be nicer, and it will bring many tourist attractions because people will be coming. Some of the parents will be coming to come and watch their kids as well. So it will also boost our economy in terms of tourism, in terms of shops, in terms of B&Bs, in terms of restaurants. So for the first time, some of the people will be coming for the first time to Niza. They will want to come back because when they're coming, they're not coming for holiday. They are coming to watch the soccer, but they will want to come back to come and explore. So from my side, Chair, I think let's start with the first process and approve such an event. We instruct that community service, finance, and tourism needs to meet and come back to us. And where is the budget allocated, and where can we find resources? But I will support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Matika. So then, in principle, committee,
Chairperson, on principle, you have the support from me as Councillor Low.
Amen.
Thanks, Chairperson, Deputy Mayor. I just want to make a recommendation that we take this presentation to top management to consider it and advise this committee on the way forward, because I don't think the administration had an opportunity to look at it. And because the event, I can see, has got a lot of financial implications, and we don't know from the SAFA and sponsors what are their commitments in terms of financial resources and various role players. So I'm just hesitant for the committee to resolve on this matter before the administration can look at the matter and advise the committee. Bring the matter back to the committee for consideration. We can agree on the timelines, but I think it's important that we get the matter looked at the administration level by top management. That's my submission, Chair. And then Councillor Walid, I think, is requesting me. I'm gonna ask to be excused. He's got a committee also in committee. He just wants me to open this meeting.
Sorry, Amen. Councillor Walid was supposed to be in this meeting, so I'm not going to excuse you.
Okay. No, it's fine, but that was my recommendation on the subject.
Thank you. Councillor Wet.
Thank you, Chairperson. I want to actually concur with the statement made by the acting MM. So my proposal to the committee is that we note the presentation and then allow the TMT further engagements with at least a period of 3 weeks with SAFA, and then the committee has a special meeting to consider the representation made by TMT to this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Speaker. Welcome to my meeting. Um, proceed.
Good morning to everyone. I've listened to it, and Chair, where are the tickets? I've listened to it. Oyster's ending this weekend. I've listened to it. Do I have a struggle? So, Chairperson, I'll propose that after the TMT have met, you yourself must compile an item, just take it straight to the council meeting, so that we speed up the process. Can I suggest that to you? Thank you.
For sure, Speaker, I was about to say that we have an intention in council, or whenever we take resolutions here or make recommendations, the implementation plan is taking too long, whether it's from administration side. So instead of, can I recommend with the indulgence committee, instead of 3 weeks, we give him 1 week to come back. 2 weeks? South, are you happy with it?
Yes, Chair. For us, we are very happy that you gave us the ear to listen to us, to present. We'll send all the documents so that when you meet, you have an informed documents with you and you take an informed decision. Like I said, I took a blame that I couldn't send the document before. So, but we will send everything and we'll allow the committee and the council to make that or take that resolution. That is more than enough to us. But what is important is just a confirmation if the town will be able to host, so that when we make our planning, we know that which town, because at the moment we don't have the confirmation of town yet. So if we can get that guarantee after your discussions and your agreements, that will be highly appreciated. And 3 weeks, it's more than enough, because all the deadline on the 31st of July, we started early so that we are not late, seeing that the event is in October. So as a province, we started very early to cover this kind of things so that we allow times and space for the engagement. So that will be good enough for us, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. We are just now looking at or discussing the facility. I think you did have your site visit at Lurie Park. I'm sure about it, no? Deputy Chair?
Yes, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair. Yeah, we did, myself and the chairman, went to Lurie Park. We did have an inspection in Lurie Park. The facility is up to standard to host the event. It may be there will be renovation now and then that need to take place in terms of the dressing room and everything. But the facility itself, it can host such an event.
Thank you. Councillor White, Councillor Lowe, Councillor Sabah.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we just wanted to know if that's the only facility that SAFA had a look at, if there were maybe other facilities within the municipal area that you had a look at, besides Lurie Park.
The only facility that we have looked is only Lurie Park, but I know because I reside within Knysna, so I know most of the facilities in Knysna. So if the chairman of the province have to come down with maybe one of the councillors or staff of municipality, then we can tour around and look all the facilities in Knysna. But currently, we were happy with the Lurie Park one.
Councillor Lowe?
No, Chairperson, I also want to find out about that, but because I know that Knysna is the only town that they have 2 artificial turfs that is in this whole regions and in the province. So we are very fortunate. So we have facilities. We have even this facility here. What is this facility name? This school facility. They are in town, we also have that, but it's fine. We agree with the chairperson is saying. That we deal with it, but mine is still the same. I support this whole event.
Thank you, Councillor Sabah.
Speaker.
Look at me, look at me.
Chair, so Lurie Park would be in Ward 9, and Ward 9 would welcome such events. So as the Ward 9 councillor, I would say that we would welcome an event. The only restrictions would obviously be whether there would be budget, in terms of what the budget requirements would be from the Nisa municipality, and whether or not we had resources, because obviously we would have to provide resources. So, you know, obviously we need to look at that, and we need to be mindful of that, as I said before. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Chair, I think I would like to conquer, even if you didn't say that, Councillor White, that the president of the province to come down with the team, with the local team, which is the region, and community service, because remember, you've got facilities. You've got a search field, you've got Renenal, you've got Bongane. I think Bongane is on process. You've got Bongane, you've got Safe Hub. Check all the facilities. If they can use all of them, then it will be good for us so that we're inclusive municipality. One of the councillors who used to sit there normally remind us that we are inclusive municipality. Okay. Now I will propose that so they come down and move around.
Okay, so
Holy, sorry, how can I forget the big one?
339. Okay, so in principle committee, we are saying that we note the report. We are, out of what I could hear, is that we are in support of this event. It's just that the TMT needs to come back to us or sit down with regards to the budget allocation. You, as the SAFA, will then send all documentation to us so they can go through that, and then we will call for a special Section 80 together with all other departments to pave a way forward. But in principle, we are in support of this event in October. I believe that, sorry, just finally, that they have booked the venue so long for that period, the park, for that period. So, yeah, it's a step in the correct direction. So, with that said, anything else that you would like to say, Deputy Chair?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Chairperson will welcome the proposal of the Speaker in terms of the chairman of the province must come down with the team so that we can tour around with the officials of municipality, including some of the councillors, so that the chairman also of the province can have a sense of other facilities that is around Naisna. We'll welcome that. Myself and the chairman will be in discussion, then I will communicate with your office when will be the chairman coming down so that we can do the tour visit. Thank you very much for that. And also thank you very much for the opportunity that you guys have given us, honorable councillors and senior staff. We appreciate it. We know that we came at a short notice, but as the speaker have said that your municipality is an inclusive one, so your door is always open. Thank you very much for that opportunity. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Chawana. I was just told now that both of you, yourself and the speaker, served under this one next to me in the local area. So yeah, with that said, SAFA, President, Secretary, Deputy Chairperson of the province of SAFA Western Cape, thank you very much for your presentation. You will now be excused. We're going to proceed with the business of the day. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
That's good. Have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye.
Same to you, sir. Sleep tight. Okay, committee members, let's go to the page 19, the execution list. Is there anything on the execution list? Page 19, page 20. Can we note the report on the execution? Thank you very much. Let's move to the next item. Page 22, matter submitted by the municipal manager. P010624, Economic Development Department Performance Report for January 2024 to March 2024. Acting Director, can you take us through?
Thank you, Chairperson. On the Economic Development Department Performance Report, we have achieved our targets for the quarter. However, on item or key performance indicator D155, which is the implementation of the economic development strategy. We are still working towards finalizing the strategy. We have a service provider that is currently assisting with the review of the existing one. And then once that is finalized, then we will bring it to the Section 80 for discussions and consideration. We are looking at having the strategy finalized by end of June because they are currently finalizing the implementation plan. So that is the only target that we didn't manage to meet in the previous quarter. Just to highlight that this report is actually quarter 3 report, so there's quite significant progress on some of the projects that we are implementing as the department. On the budget sheet, which we normally give our cash flows as well as expenditure to date, most of the projects that are listed there, as well as commitments vis-a-vis expenditure, as well as the allocation of budget for the financial year, there is quite a significant expenditure that we have incurred in the previous quarter, as well as the current quarter. So those figures will be different in our next report, which will be the 4th quarterly report. When we submitted the report, it was earlier in the 3rd quarter, so we're still busy with implementing some of the projects. On the informal trading coordination, we have tried, one of the challenges that we have is ensuring that all our informal traders that are trading in municipal demarcated areas are compliant. We are still struggling with this item as the department. We've tried to have engagements with the informal traders themselves, as well as community services on the law enforcement part of it, because our current challenge is, as the department, we do the issuing of permits, but when it comes to the enforcement of bylaws, then it becomes a community services function. We've had 2 meetings with community services to try and look at possible ways that we can jointly assist each other in ensuring that our traders are compliant. But one of the things that we are currently picking up from the traders themselves upon engagement is that, for example, if you look at the taxi rank, we have about 29 trading spaces that are approved by council. But when you look at the number of traders on the ground, they are more than 29. And then you, as the department, we expect 29 traders to be compliant, whereas the rest of the traders are not compliant. So it doesn't make sense to them to continue paying for their monthly trading fees because the rest of their counterparts are not paying. So what we have discussed is a possibility of extending our meeting and invite land use and look at a possibility of maybe seeking an approval from council to use the current spaces that were not initially demarcated for informal trading and try to do some kind of formalization of that space, because the current problem is, as much as we keep saying we have 29 spots, but we have about more than 60 people on the ground. So instead of leaving them there on non-approved trading spaces and frustrating the entire program, maybe we should recommend to council to maybe approve and formalize those spaces. But then when we do that, we need to make sure that we take into consideration the land use management bylaws and whatever other provisions are there. So we will have a discussion once the director comes back and then look at a possibility of submitting an item with a clear motivation on why we recommending that that be formalized. That then goes to 4 other trading areas that are within the CBD, excluding the ones that are already part of the approved demarcated areas. I'm not going to talk on the seasonal traders, DM, because this program is seasonal. It usually starts from December and then it ends in January, but we included it in the report because when we were preparing for our report, it was for January and March. So we just gave an indication that we still have our seasonal traders on the ground, but when we move towards the season, then towards the end of the year, we will then start with the process of advertising and getting more seasonal traders on the ground. This again has its own challenges, as we highlighted in the previous section 80, that we have all these demarcated areas in different locations, but what we're noticing is that most people prefer to be allocated trading spaces in areas where there is more foot traffic vis-a-vis the other areas. Now, what we need to also look at is whether it's possible to expand our trading areas for the season only, during the season. I think when maybe we bring the item to the section 80, we need to focus on the annual traders that are usually on the street throughout the year, as well as address the seasonal trading issue so that when we go towards the season, that is also covered. For example, the most preferred trading area is the Buffalo Bay, and in Buffalo Bay we have very limited trading spaces. So there is some work that we need to do in terms of looking at possible other areas within that area to identify trading areas. But we'll give a proper, well-written item to council to consider so that we move with this. I think, DM, I would like to stop there for now and then allow for questions.
Thank you. Can I start?
Yes, DM.
By coming to the taxi rank, traders, as well as Templeman Square. Now I'm going to go to ask you, because you've made mention that you have engaged with the Department Community Service with regards to the implementation of the bylaws by our law enforcement officers. Now, I'm of the opinion, and I think I've made a request some weeks ago, that we're having challenges on, especially the Templeman Square in the main street, where I was called by, or in fact, some of the traders, they came to my office requesting some officers to do patrols there regularly, in fact, on a daily basis, because some of our tourists are being targeted by a group of guys that is normally standing there waiting for buses to stop in the main street. And then our tourists are being robbed. And I have forwarded that request through to community service, to the traffic chief, and they only went there once upon my request on that day, and they never returned to that area. Currently, it is a hotspot. So my question would be, we have law enforcement officers, permanent law enforcement officers. We have 20 LEAP officers that is only focusing on dishing out food parcels and cutting gumplas. Those people are trained in that specific fields of performing their duties as law enforcement officers. Whilst we are sitting with a challenge, there's no appetite of working with my department, either when it comes to trading, to the trading areas, or with regards to the challenges that we are facing in town. The tax rank is a total mess. Whilst we have 20 law enforcement officers that are roaming around here, if you don't see them here on this one corner standing there as a group, you would find them somewhere here at the back of the garages, standing there, or they would be sitting here under a tree. It's a disgrace, a total disgrace. I must stretch my disappointment this morning, Director Community Service. Second of all, they are, I used to be a law enforcement officer, and I was proud on my uniform. But you would find them roaming the streets, even without their badges on. It's a total disgrace. So, MM3U, I would like to ask that there is an urgent intervention plan where both departments sit down, work out a strategy and a plan as to how we're going to address these challenges in town. Templeman Square, as well as the taxi rank. If needs be that we have to call it Operation Cleanup, let's do so. Because we cannot allow a situation where we are being held at ransom. Our tourists that we are working hard on as a department to come visit this town of Knysna are being held, and we are absolutely doing nothing about it as a municipality. So I would like, with the indulgence of this committee, have an action plan and a report with it, with the next either Section 80 meeting or a special Section 80 meeting to get a report from both my department as well as the Department of Community Service regarding an action plan on the safety measures that they're going to put in place in town. Thank you. Councillor Low. I've noticed, Councillor Sabah, I've noted you.
Okay, thanks, Chairperson, for noting Councillor Sabah and noting myself. If we are on point 6.1, I just want to ask. Sorry, Chairperson. The reason why I want to ask about the African craft market. What are we? Because we did 2 site visits there. The one is there at what is this place? George Rex Drive. And it's now for how long we come to these meetings and say there's a lot of opportunities that we can create there. And where we can go out for proposal calls to have just a big market there. There was, even when we were doing the site visit, there was someone that was coming there with a plan what to do there. Why are we not utilizing that space proper? Are we just waiting for that memorandum that we must be left on that thing? But let's we do a proposal call for that market, for that area there. It can be a good thing because Saturday mornings, people are doing this fun walk, marathon, and everything can be there, it's nice. So, especially that is in Hot 9, but can we not do something there? Because I'm just worried when we wake up, Lungi, when we wake up tomorrow when we wake up, then someone have put up a structure there. Then we're sitting with a bigger problem as we expected. Because there's people that can go tomorrow night or tonight and put up structures there, then we're sitting with the biggest problem. While we can use that land productively and also build the economic of Knysna.
Just before you, Councillor Sabah, Acting Director, you know, now you're putting me under this, on the spot here because myself and Councillor Sabach were having exchanges of words when it comes to this item. Can you please fast track that? Because we requested this now a long time ago that we put out the RFP. I was advised that at the time there was the RFP ready to go out, but it hasn't been actioned. Maybe you can just give us clarity here.
Thank you, Chairperson. If I may provide a bit of clarity on the matter. In our previous Section 80, we reported that the RFP is ready to be issued. However, we need to finalize a few things within the document through consultation with relevant departments. When we set for the specification committee, we were advised that we need to have a council resolution before we actually issue the advert itself. The council resolution relates to the time frame of the list for that portion of land to be leased to whoever will be a successful bidder for the development of that area. So that is where we are currently stuck at. I had a discussion with properties sometime this week or last week, just to follow up on where how far is the resolution. It is still with the department. It has not been through their Section 80, and unfortunately, until that is done, we are unable to move because that needs to form the basis of our proposal to say we are going to list this land for X number of years to a successful bidder, so that when they plan for the development, they plan in accordance to what has been approved by council in terms of the time period. So that is where we sort of got stuck with the project. But once we get that resolution, then it will be easy for us to use the resolution as a basis to issue the advert or rather a call.
You see, how processes are being delayed administratively, This item has been coming along now for, I think, more than a year now. That's this specific item. Or 2 years. Can we, as a committee, ask that this item, that specific item, get special attention to and be moved to a special, to a council meeting, our next council meeting? There's a special council meeting tomorrow. I've noted here. There's a special council meeting tomorrow or Friday. Yeah. Amen.
Asking about the special council. It's not yet confirmed, but I've heard we have requested a special one for approval of an adjustment budget. But I think the agendas are not yet out.
Okay, but for that special council meeting, that we maybe add that item because we need to finalize this item. It's long overdue. Councillor Sabah?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in terms of what you discussed earlier with regard to formulating a plan and getting it back to the Section 80 with regard to law enforcement, etc., I think not only just in town, there are many informal traders that are trading in areas that are not approved, that need to be addressed. Along George Rex, for instance, there are a number of them. There are quite a few up at Coney Glen, at the view sites there as well. There are a number of areas, not just, I mean, I mentioned just a few just in Ward 9, so there are a number of areas where we have a problem. But over and above that, yes, I wanted to raise the African craft market corner, George Rex, and vigilance. My understanding was an expression of interest was supposed to be done. That site was visited in September of 2022. It was soon after the current coalition took over. And actually, in fact, that was the very next day. So we've been waiting since then. it has been a proposal or discussion for an extended period of time. It could be done that could benefit many, many community members, informal traders, together with businesses, small businesses, and could bring, create a big tourism drive for Knysna as well. So it is something that needs to be addressed. I think that we need to look at it very carefully. I take cognizance of what our acting director said with regard to the fact that we are still waiting for a council approval with regard to a period of time in terms of a lease agreement. I would like to suggest that what we do is we, yes, bring it to council and proceed along those lines, and that we maybe start with the expression of interest. At least we can start getting people in, and we can formalize a period thereafter. Because, I mean, for us to sit and wait on a never-ending basis is not acceptable. And I think there are some very interesting proposals out there that are waiting for the municipality to take the lead in terms of getting that advert out. And once that advert is out, we will get a lot of interest. So I would like to obviously agree that we need to proceed on it, but not with haste where we then make a mistake and it's got to come back and come back. I think we need to, I mean, we're now sitting at the end of this financial year. I think it is something that we can attend to properly, where we can apply our minds without having to rush into it. The department would appear to have some work that still needs to be done. So I do think that possibly we bring it back to council in the new financial year, and not push it for this one. There's a lot of other things that need to be dealt with in the council meeting that needs to come forward, that we need to look at more critically and make informed decisions on. So I think this one can wait another month or two. I don't think it's necessary for us to do it with such speed. Thank you.
Okay, so I've noted you, Councillor Campbell. So what you propose is that the RFP to go out, we can still bring the item to council with regards to the time frame. Is that what you propose? Okay. Noted. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, that we have to do this according to our normal processes. Councillor Matika is here, so we could ask him to ask the Properties Department to bring the item to the next Section 80. We start these leases and things at the Section 80, then we make a recommendation to the MACO, then we go to council. There's absolutely no reason, considering the long-term implications, to skip our normal processes. So if we can ask Councillor Matika, who's the chair of the corporate portfolio, to just ask the department to make sure that item comes to the next Section 80 so that we can follow the correct processes. And again, I want to compliment the acting director on her excellent, well-motivated and concise reports. It's always such a pleasure to listen to her reports, because she really explains everything to us. But we have to follow the correct procedures, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Campbell. I take a note. Councillor Matika?
No, good morning, councillors. No, thank you very much. Chair, let me go straight. Your point is taken, Councillor Campbell. We're having Section 80 on Tuesday next week. So, yeah, I'll ask the acting director to put that item there. Just wanted to check, Chair, I'm here on the item 6.2. I know we've been dwelling back on 6.1, but we have already went, it almost took us 30 minutes. We already went with the recommendation. I just want to check in terms of item 6.2. I want to check when there are targets that have been set in terms of creating jobs and stuff. And some of the targets are not met. Most of the targets in terms of this job employment and stuff are not met. I want to check, is it HR or is it departments that do not need some of these? Because the money doesn't come even from municipality, it's a grant which we are supposed to spend. Because if you receive a grant for 100 people to spend, and then you only spend 80. So when you apply again, they're going to say, but you're not utilizing your grant fully. I just want to check on these ones, because if I look at most of these targets, environmental, health, the target is 20, we only achieve 18, so 2 jobs that's supposed to have been created are not created. Parks, it's 18, the achieve is 14, so it's 4 jobs. Solid waste is 9, then it's 6, it's 3 jobs. Planning, they've overachieved those ones. The target is 30, then it's 48, at least they've achieved. So all in all, if you go infrastructure as well, is 134, they've only achieved 126. I just want to check, is it in terms of departments that are not, maybe they don't want the full 30 if it's 30, or is it HR who are not doing their job enough, so that I know why we're not achieving in terms of these ones, because some of these, I understand the other ones of contractors outside, but I'm talking about the internal achievements. At least that one we're supposed to achieve there, because we have a lot of unemployment, that people that are not working. We are supposed to achieve, and we are spending more of our internal money on casuals, while we have EPWP grant we can utilize in most of the departments. The other issue I want to check, I know, I don't know if we are also part of the program of tourism monitors. I know in Pito there is a training of tourism, and I see a couple of EFF people also there. There's ladies who wanted to contest from NISDA. They're also going to that class in Pito. So I don't know if is it part of us. They're gonna, after the training, they'll come and be here in NISDA. Because also it's something that we are lacking in terms of tourism monitor, because we're a tourist destination town. We're supposed to have tourism monitors or tourism ambassadors across, because those ones, we don't pay them. It's a grant. There is a special grant from, I don't know, Department of Tourism or EPWP across the province. I don't know, we are not utilizing that one fully, because we're supposed to each and have at least 30 or 40 waterfront, main roads, all of these tourism places, so that we don't use them as law enforcement and clerks. I know last time they were used as clerks and law enforcement. So I just wanted to check, are we part of that one? But Chair, all in all, I want to concur with Councillor Campbell. The report of the acting director from LED, it's quite proper. And the way he's explaining it's quite proper. I'm very impressed. I would have also given him a performance bonus if it was a direct. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Acting Director, you want to respond?
Thank you so much, Chairman. I'll start with the last one, Councillor Matika, the Tourism Monitor Program. This is a program that is funded by the National Department of Tourism. For the current intake, unfortunately, they did it through the district municipality, and we have about 18 participants. They are currently finalizing their theory component of the training, and from the 15th of July, they will then be released to their respective municipalities. So NISNA has 18 out of those young people. We are currently working on a plan on where we can place them within the greater NISNA municipality for their experiential learning. And this time, I promise you, they will not be in offices, they will be out there in different tourism, critical tourism areas. We then will be responsible, obviously, for the administration and monitoring of the program. They are going to be doing their practical component for 18 months, which will also cover us during the season, because that is one of the challenges that we usually have during the season. So we are covered in a nutshell. When it comes to EPWP, I think the issue with this program is that it is coordinated through LED, but we are mainly responsible for the integrated grant that we get from Public Works on an annual basis, which is around 1.2 million, which the DM is always concerned about because he feels that we can get more. Having said that, when it comes to the actual breakdown of that budget, we allocate different departments a portion of the budget as per their set targets for the project. What they normally do then is to top it up with their own casual funding. But what happens is, in terms of the recruitment, in the previous years, we experienced a bit of a challenge when it comes to recruiting participants on time. So we decided to do one comprehensive memo that covers all the departments. But in some instances, we don't get participants on time due to various reasons, which I think departments would have a much better insight on. And that then affects our annual targets for the program. So in terms of implementation, it's different departments that have allocation of the budget that run with the process of implementation. With infrastructure-related projects, those at EPWP are we usually get the data from contractors that are appointed in line with either MIG or whichever other grant that is that has an EPWP component in it. So we are not achieving our targets because our targets, the annual target overall for the municipality is very high vis-a-vis what we can put in as the municipality. But we also do have our own challenges in terms of meeting the actual set targets by the municipality. I think Pam would like to add, especially on her departments, because on Enviro she has 2 gaps.
Okay, just before you follow up, Councillor Matikov.
No, thank you, Chair. No, thank you very much for the explanation. Maybe we need to review our targets in terms of the way you are explaining that our municipality targets may be high, and then because if some of the amount must come from casuals, from municipality internal, so that's why we cannot meet this target. So that, but the explanation will not be that. For someone who's outside, who will say that this department doesn't meet the targets, or we don't meet the targets in terms of EPWP, without having that understanding that municipality will supplement some of the amounts. So I want to say that you're saying that they're busy with this, so they'll start on the 15th. So I would like that to be utilized in tourist places and in town for visibility. So any tourist who come can be able to know that I see, here is a tourist, they must be visible. Here is different from law enforcement. Here is a tourism monitor or tourism ambassador. If I want to ask where is waterfront, those person is supposed to be know. So I'm sure part of the training, if I want to know where is the big tree, that person is supposed to be able to give you direction. Yeah. If I want to know where is Honley, that person supposed, because their training normally, those other ones, the training were more of law enforcement, but not also awareness of NISA. Where is Buffers Bay? How many beaches we have? How many golf? Because some of the people doesn't even know that we have more than 5 beaches, or we have a lot, your Pollards Bay, your Noodsea, your Brenton, your Buffers Bay. They thought, no, it's only Lash. They say, no, many people who come from Northern Cape, they come and book here, but when the beach, they only go to Pito, Buffers Bay. Then they say, no, man, we were taken to Lash. There's Noodsea, there's a lot. We have a lot of beaches here. That they're supposed to be aware in terms of tourism and information center and the stuff, so that they are visible across the town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pam?
Thanks, Chair. I think the numbers are also a little bit misleading because we have participants that leave because they get better job opportunities. And I think that's what we want to encourage. You know, EPWP is entry level, it's minimum wage. And if somebody has a better job opportunity as a result of training that's offered through the EPWP program, they must go and they must take that opportunity. It's just that re-recruiting and filling those places is time consuming. In fact, we lost 4 of our 20, but we re-recruited, but we were only managed to fill 2 of those four places within the period of the contract. So I think that also needs to be taken into account. And then from a visibility perspective, our River Health program has had challenges previously. they are overwhelmed by the amount of pollution in the rivers. So we are considering taking those river health ladies and moving them into the coastal areas, into the estuary areas where the Working for the Coast teams used to work, because that program is now finished. There they'll be more visible, and I think that's an opportunity that allows us to showcase EPWP a little better than we have been.
Okay, thank you. Just one last thing from my side, although this report is from, as indicated, from January to March. Who's here? Okay, now, Mr. Petina, you are here on behalf of corporate. So who's here from housing? Or can I shoot straight to you? Okay.
There's an acting director of housing. She's an acting director of housing.
I'm having a little bit of concern when looking at the comments under page 47. Hey, where's this director now? Okay, while you're getting him, I'm gonna go to housing. This table, human settlements, Happy Valley, Etembani, Naisna Vision 2002, and Klalani. Although you have achieved your target of 22, when you look at the comments, it says project registered on EPW PRS, work opportunity information by contracts are incomplete, unable to report to work opportunities created by EPWP reporting system. I know that there has been some work done to assist human settlements. But in terms of the reporting line, because what is being achieved versus the target, can we please work on that? Because last year we have fight around this, and I now believe that you are now working with our department to try and remedy that. Yeah. You want to respond?
No, that's fine, DM. We have addressed that now. The issue was we did not enforce what we have now informed the contractors that we will enforce. We paid them without them having reported on EPWP. And what we have now enforced is they should report on EPWP and submit what is required prior to any invoice being processed and finalized. So going forward, we will actually force them because these are small contractors and it's a learning curve for them. But we did ask Lexi to assist them. But although Lexi is trying to assist them, they just don't submit the document. Administratively, they're a little bit backwards, but we will now enforce and make sure that invoices are not paid until they've submitted what is required.
Okay, thank you very much. And then just with technical services, in the absence of the acting director now, I see that out of the 74 participants employed on the project, 74, 30 participants failed validation as a result of not legible certified copies of IDs. This is simple things that I believe we can get right and things that we can work on. So, Acting Director, if you can just urge the departments there when submitting or looking for this, getting this participants, that we try and minimize the small stuff. Thanks. Councillor Matika?
No, thanks. Before we move, Chair, also just to touch on housing, I know maybe part of the reason, I know many of South Africans, they will not, they don't like to be working in terms of building these RDPs. Most of them, I know most of the companies will always be using people from outside. Because our people will say, no, man, there's no money there. Or because it's about, so maybe it's also part of the reason we must also look at, so that they must at least have, even if they employ from outside, but they must also have meet the targets of internal for South Africans, so that they can meet the targets in terms of EPWP register. So you must also encourage that. I know that it's not like the other projects, but I know our people when building houses go to Shalani, those who are plastering, it's rare to find. Normally it's from outside who do those plasters and bricks and stuff. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor.
Chairperson, I just also want to concur with, the challenge that we are facing is that, and I spoke to my brother about it and he spoke to me. We're starting with a scenario where these artists, these trades, some of our people, they don't want to be part of it anymore. They don't value it, but it's a trade, it's an art to build, to do all these kind of things, and this is the challenge that we are facing. So that's why, Councillor Matika, you will find my African brothers, they dominating it now. Yeah, you can go to our areas. You will find it's very difficult. They say to a person, "Come, we have a job here. We are going to build a house there." Even our local SMMEs, Mr. Patuna, we know they are using some of these guys because our own people don't want to come and do this hard work, But my African brothers that come from the north to the south, they are prepared to do it. The only thing that we have to do and check in is that it's about how we can deal and fast track and see how the documentation is. That's the only thing, because when they have the documentation, then we can also put it as registered on our system, So, Matika, this is the challenge that we are facing. But I also want to say to the chairperson, that thing that you put out about electricity and where people can come and be trained into these plumbing things and that. Now you are moving. I can see you are chairperson. You are in charge. Yes, but the plastering must be part of it, and bricklayer, because it's a skill. So, and some of these guys making, I just some of them to do a house there only. For 5 days, a guy making 20,000 rand to plaster a house in 5 days. And they were doing it. For 5 days, they do a house, get 20,000 rand. Other people are working 3 months, 4 months. They doesn't even get 20,000 rand. So we have to look into that. Plastering is a skill. Bricklaying is a skill. Thanks, Chairperson, but I can see you moving.
Thank you, councillors. Okay, so can we note the report? Thank you.
Through you, Chair. Before the report is noted, I don't know whether we should look at the Oyster Festival update or maybe submit a comprehensive report, since the Oyster Festival is currently underway, because it was initially part of our reporting, but we skipped and went to the EPWP before getting to that.
Okay, you want to brief us quickly, because last night I was at the event and somebody was bragging there that this acting director of my department is doing a brilliant job with the Oyster Festival. So I was like, ish. So what about me now? Okay, just give us a brief whilst we are at it.
Okay, thank you, TM. With the Oyster Festival, it is currently underway. We had our street opening, which was meant to also open it up to the broader community to participate in. I think that is something that we need to implement as we go forward. We have a couple of events that took place from the 22nd up to date. The biggest, obviously, was the marathon, which had about 7,000 entries. And then we swapped the marathon and the cycle tour with the hope that, because the marathon brings in more foot traffic, We would like then to have something that will keep those athletes in town for a longer stay than previously. We have also a couple of other events that are happening during the week, which are meant to sort of give some kind of life into the festival for during the week. And then we are now looking forward to the cycle tour, which is in the next weekend. We have introduced new events through various event organizers, which is the street soccer, which is a new event within our program. We also had the classic motor show in Sedgefield. I think Councillor Matic, I'll be very happy about this because Sedgefield has not been part of it previously. It was well attended. And then we also have the oyster sharking competition, which was yesterday. And then what we brought back into the program again is the Young Oyster, which is a program that used to be in the libraries. We are trying it out this year to see how it works out. And if it works out well for us, then we'll take it over in the next year, next year as well. So we have all these events that are still happening during the course of the week. On our Oyster Festival Facebook page, we keep putting in updates on what is happening on that particular day so that you can have an idea instead of going to the program. We just keep the public updated on what is going on. Lastly, with the sponsorship that we received, we obviously had food lovers as reported in the previous Section 80, confirmed they financially contributed to the Oyster Festival. We have Alcoa as a media partner. We sort of agreed that we pause our discussions with SAPC due to the time frame between the time of concluding the discussions around the agreement as well as the actual festival, because the partnership had financial implications. And when we look at it in terms of the value for money, we said, no, let's rather pause it for now and then continue the discussions for 2025. So we'll start those discussions earlier this year, so it's straight after the festival, and then have the agreement signed. And then we were also supported by St. Parks. They financially contributed to the festival. Obviously, then Standard Bank, as well as other sub-sponsors that are specifically sponsoring different events. We also had DKS, who's sponsoring the community events, which are soccer, netball, as well as volleyball. So we have all these sponsors, but when it comes to the main sponsor, we need to go out there and look for a sponsor for 2025 because we are not sure whether food lovers will stay on because this was just a trial for them. And then if they are happy, then they might stay on. But even if they stay on, given the financial contribution that they've made, we may need a bigger sponsorship so that we spread the festival as much as possible. We've had challenges, but we'll highlight the challenges when we do the comprehensive report at the end of the festival. So that is where we are with the Oyster Festival.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Matika, Councillor Low, CFO.
Jim, I must say that I'm very happy with the current Oyster Festive. I think it's starting to gel again, to go back to the ones we used to have. We used to have a big Oyster Festive, but since the COVID, things started to die. But now I think you can see really that the Oyster Festive is back. As much as not all the programs are back, but you can see it's very back. With the limited budget I'm having, the whole festive, the main sponsor is about 700,000, and then you manage to pull everything. I think I'm very happy, Chair, and I believe that they should start advertising to get more bigger sponsor and more sponsors. I think fruit lovers must also maybe sponsor again, but we need sponsors that will bring lots of money so that we can expand to different categories and different stuff, and also increase. You see, the always thing I'm always talk about is the prize monies. You know, DM going to the next, I don't know if it's gonna be G unit or it's gonna be fighter and the DA going to the next budget, which is gonna be next year. So I don't know who will be in charge, but again, whenever, even if I'm a G unit or my opposition, but still, I'm going to push at least, let's try
as municipality, budget proper money for Oyster Festive, for this festive. At least we're a tourist town. We're supposed to say at least per year we have about 5 million not only for Oyster, we bring back the pink lorry, we assist there used to be a lot of activities. CFO. So here is money. Oyster, you see, Comrades Marathon, it's the biggest. You can see nice, it's almost 2,000, 5,000, they will go and participate in Comrades Marathon. And they are not participating in Oyster, but they stay here. Most of people who stays here, they'll go and participate in Oyster, in Comrades Marathon. But I saw that most of them, they didn't participate in Niza Forest Marathon. Also, we need to look at in terms of prices. We might not have similar sponsors as Comrade Marathon, but at least let's try and match so that we can get more and more people who want to come and participate. Because the nice Oyster Festive, the prize money, is not the same as Comrades Marathon. You see, I understand that because the events are not the same, but let's try and encourage. In 5 years' time, we need to overtake the Comrades Marathon. In 5 years' time, we need to overtake. That's our target. We should set that target. The more we get people to come in to the Oyster Festive and the Forest Marathon, the more revenue we're gonna get, the more, because those people are not just coming on that day. They come and stay and spend big monies. So they come and stay. So I'm happy for now. And I'm appealing again, most days, those people who I didn't see yet, who always I want them to come back. The navies, I still want them back. We must start now, encouraging. I hear the Minister of Navies is gonna come from G Unit. So we must also engage so that they can come next year, because I know, when they also hear, they also give that spark vibe and stuff. And I know them, they go to our areas, to ship-ins. They go there to our ship-ins. And they create also that township economy. And our sisters are very happy, when they are here, because at least they create a good township economy, you see. I saw it on Facebook, and some of you asking, where are the navies today? You see, because they will come here and spend a lot of money and stuff, and they buy lots of.
Councillor Love?
Thanks, Chairperson. I see where Councillor Matika is coming from. This Oyster Festival start very long, and I was part from it from 2003, 2001, 2000 in this Oyster Festival, especially with football and things like that. And I can see, Chairperson, it was never a mistake to make your MMC of planning and development, because you can see now that this vibe of the Oyster Festival is coming back to our people, especially by last week when you introduced the opening in the main street. And people are very hungry for these kind of carnivals in the main street, because previous years there were carnivals in the main street where people can go and attend. And one of the things that the Oyster Festival have done to our town is by having these sport fun fair for kids, where all these kids, were transported with buses from different areas, especially the disadvantaged kids, to go and explore different kind of sports at the CBD sport field, where they can explore sport that they never play, they never see in that sport fun fair event. So this is one thing that we have to say, because myself and Matika and the DM and all of us that are sitting here can feel that there's an Oyster Festival. But we mustn't forget there's kids and there's parents that doesn't have this money to bring their kids to this festival opportunities. That's why you will find out during the day, kids are walking from different areas through that vigilance drive to come to try to exploit, to be part of it. So if we can bring that also back to them, and not only focusing about the people that can afford to go to these areas, but also for kids that can exploit that because their parents are maybe domestic workers or the parents depend on social grounds. But I can say to you, Chairperson, with your team, we salute you for how you have dealt with this Oyster Festival and how we have moved it and tried to bring it back, because there's different kind of events that is also happening in our areas, like the Rasta, Mr. Cliff, you know that guy. I don't. Maybe we must make a statue for Mr. Cliff, the Rasta, in the main street, because how we perform, you know, it is sometimes your own people to see them how they can perform. And those are the people that they have to honor. We don't have to honor people that are coming from outside. But also I have to say to you that that DCAS is all the years it was involved. But now they also have to lift up their games. They mustn't just come with trophies every time and medals. Now DCAS must come to the party. I spoke to Jan Little and I said, you can't bring trophies and medals for 20 years, you just bring it. And then you say you have contributed. It's not going to help. The other thing is that, Chairperson, the last one, is very important for this committee, for your team that are working on it. When there's event in the Honey Sport Field, that the people that are part and parcel of using this facility, they must talk to each other. The reason why I'm saying that last week, while I take my 4-year-old boy that are today 5 years, today is 5 years, it was last week 4, today is 5. So when I took him there to go and watch football, there were people asking gate fees. Netball have a fight, they don't charge gate fees. Soccer have a fight, they don't charge gate fees. And it was an issue. And I told them there, I'm here not as a counselor, I'm here as a father to bring my kid. But you, as different organizations, must talk to each other and sit down before you go and have these kind of events. Because the one charged 20 rand, the other one said they don't charge money. And it was nearly become a chaos. But they have solved. I said to them, go to the kidding room there in the toilet somewhere, sit and talk about it. And after that, you go and they deal with it. Because we are not here for that now. But I just want to inform you around that. But it was successful. Eden FM was also there. It was very nice, man. And football and netball, you can see they create that vibe in our areas. But I salute you with the team and CFO. We have to look for more money for the Oyster Festival. And I talk about serious money. So I support Mr. Matika, and maybe we can get more professionals also on to come to town of Nyasa. Thank you. I know Councillor Campbell will not support it, but it's fine.
Thank you, Councillor Lau. Just before I give to the CFO and Councillor Sabach and Auntie Susie, Councillor Lau, you've touched on something that I didn't want to discuss, but I think I just need to say this, that the people actually that wanted to charge gate fees at the Honey Sports Field did not do the honors to apply for the event. Yes. And therefore, they were not actually permitted even to charge gate fees. So we have followed it up. We will deal with this after the Oyster Festival, because people are taking chances. Yeah, but we will deal with it after the festival. But yes, with that also said, CFO?
Okay, thanks, Chair. Maybe my apologies first for coming in late. I thought the meeting was postponed at that indication. My PA also confirmed that. but I was busy with the budget for the item that's coming on Friday or Thursday, so I just wanted to highlight that. But my issue was relating to the funding that we've talked about here. I attended last week the CFO forum, and I think the province have encouraged tourism areas, particularly areas such as Leisna, to apply. There's a 4 million currently available within this month. So if the unit is not available, you can just maybe contact me also that we can try to apply. The 4 million is not, is for the total Western Cape for tourism activities. It's called the Tourism Growth Fund. I don't know if you're aware of it. But if you have not applied, they've encouraged us to apply so that we can tap into it for this current year. Because I saw you're talking about an event in the next 2 weeks. So maybe it can assist in those things. Thanks.
Thank you. Now you see, now it's proper. We're moving. Councillor Sabah?
Yes, thank you. I'm always one to give credit where credit is due, and I want to thank the acting director, Planning and Economic Development Tourism, for your role in the leading of the Oyster Festival. I think that it is correct to say that the Oyster Festival has improved in terms of its functionality and events. However, I do believe that constructive criticism is also required, and I do think that we need to improve our planning around roadworks that take place, particularly in and out of Knysna. It always seems to be when events are taking place, and we did not engage with the various departments that are working on roads to ensure that the stop and goes and the delays were abated, because that was a serious problem. I also think in terms of communication and advertising of the various events, I think there is improvement that can take place there. I had raised it in previous meetings where I felt that weekly programs or daily programs maybe be printed out and put in the various taxis, in their window or their door, something, so that those that are in the taxis or use the taxi services will see it. So it's a more in-your-face kind of marketing as opposed to media. I think the media is not working well within Knysna. Not everybody has Facebook or follows media platforms. And I think that more digital marketing so that it can go out in terms of WhatsApp groups and things would be better. I also think that we need to engage with the Marathon Club. We could attract more participants in the Marathon Club if our event was a qualifying event for our major marathons and things like that. So we need to get approved in terms of being in a qualifying event. I think we had about 1,000 entries for the marathon and about 6,000 entries for the 21 or the half marathon. But if we were a qualifying event, it would be an attraction, because people, in order for runners or participants in the Comrades Marathon, you've got to have qualified in so many marathons pre your entry date. And if we can have the Knysna Marathon as a pre-qualifying event, it would attract more participants. So I think maybe that's something that we could look at. We also need to improve in terms of the events coming up into the next week, the cycling events. We used to have huge attractions in terms of cyclists that come into town, and I think that has dwindled significantly. So we need to look at how we can improve in that area. In terms of sports, I think too, it's a pity we couldn't have done the female soccer event that's coming up in October over the festival, because I think it would have been a big draw card too. So consolidation of events that take place during the course of the year in and around the festival period. Maybe we could look at something along those lines and get buy-in from a broader group of participants, and maybe that would assist in terms of securing a better sponsorship and maybe a more long-term sponsorship going forward. But just congratulations to yourself for your efforts, and then obviously under the leadership of Deputy Mayor also too, thank you. I think that it is well needed that the Knysna Oyster Festival needs to improve, and I think that we're getting ourselves back on track. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Just before Councillor Campbell, I think you've touched on something that I actually written down, Councillor Sabah. Between our department, infrastructure, I don't know who's dealing with Sunrail, but this is a very, very, very concerned aspect because I myself on Saturday, when I was supposed, or when I came into town, I was standing in a very long queue at the White Bridge, and I had to go to an interview. On my way back home, I missed the soccer match, which was part of the Oyster Festival, and I had to stand there for more than 45 minutes. And I've also noticed that some of the people that came for the Oyster Festival actually turned around on their way to Neisner due to this very frustrating roadworks on the N2. So I don't know whether we can engage with Sunrail because this coming weekend we're having the cycling and we have lots of activities running over this weekend. If we can request them not to do work or not to work on Saturday at least, it will be of great help to us because we need these people to come to Neisner and not being, because if you come from George, for instance, there is roadworks nearby Wilderness, but it's slow traffic, but it's at least coming. But then you have to come and stand on this N2 in Neisner for more than an hour. You know, it's pretty much frustrating. So at least for this weekend, if they can give us that relaxation. Thank you. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Chair, I'll start with the roadworks. It's a little bit tricky because I don't know if you saw all the equipment that these people had. I mean, I was just as frustrated about that. But I mean, they have got incredibly expensive machinery on site. They've got workers on site. And obviously, every delay has huge financial implications. But at least it looks at the moment as though there's no roadworks between Knysna and Sagefield. So let's hope it stays that way. But I actually, again, want to commend Lungi on an excellent job done marketing Knysna and the Oyster Festival with so many headwinds against her. Some of those headwinds come from other departments, like infrastructure, where we have these challenges in December high season and again now. And then others, I also have to say, I am all for a free press. And I do not believe that one hides anything. I'm very much in favor of exposing things. But it doesn't help if the December high season comes along and then the whole country thinks that we don't have water because there was a corpse in a dam. The messaging that went out in December was completely and utterly misleading. Of course, it was a very serious issue, and there were areas in Knysna that had no water. But I cannot tell you how many people phoned me and said to me, how is Knysna coping without any water? Because people got the message that all Knysna's water was polluted, and in December there's no water. Now comes the Oyster Festival, and what do we get on the day of the opening of the Oyster Festival? A hugely alarming front page, Knysna may run dry. Now, if we have a problem and there isn't water for tourists, I would expect and hope that we will do what we did in the past. We would put up signage when you come in telling people it's a water scarce area. But this kind of head front page, it does not make people stay in Knysna longer if they've already come here all the way for the Oyster Festival. And it may very well make them decide not to come next week. So Lungi, on the one hand, has to, on a very limited budget, try and promote tourism. And then we get this kind of publicity that, and it's not as though this thing with the dam only became known on that Thursday. It was extremely bad timing. And I honestly think we've got to be very careful and think of the implications and not give people the wrong impression. It's all very well if there's a real problem. But as I said, as again, Lungi, I take my hat off to you. I think you have been an enormous asset to Knysna. And the way the Oyster Festival has grown is testament to that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Matika.
No, thank you. I think that also director infrastructure, director community service, or really most of the time during the seasons and the festive. There by hospital, they used to demarcate cones and make two lines. You see, there by hospital, that's where also the traffic starts because most of people are going to George Rex. They have to stand a long queue there toward 9. Because there by hospital, whenever they is festive, they used to put cones and divide that road to two lines up until to Quick Spa. It's a long time that we were here in Nice. It used to happen, it's no longer happening. And I can tell you, it's like we are attacking traffic and law enforcement. Go to the main road, start there, drive from White Bridge up, go until to Nekis. You're not going to see a single traffic of municipality in the road or law enforcement. Not a single. While while we are busy with tourists and stuff, to assist, they can also assist some of the traffic because some of the traffic lights, they will stand there for the cars to come down, but there's no cars. Then it will take about 3 to 4 minutes. While if there's a traffic, you can say, no, come quick and redirect because the most issue is that the traffic needs to flow quickly. Because we know we have only this road and it's a national road and it's very small. The bypass is not yet passed by the EFF. You know? So we have that road. So, which is a national road with the trucks and stuff. So we need to make sure that during that, and also to make sure that at least during the festive, trucks don't use the waterfront road. They use at least the main road. Because you're having lots of, that area is very busy, but you have lots of trucks that use the other side all the way to, because the main road is very busy. So we need visibility, traffic, director. Maybe you need to appoint your manager, safety, and your superintendent. You need to appoint. That department is going backwards. Infrastructure. Chair, I must say I'm disappointed in infrastructure. Very disappointed. They were not ready for Oyster Festive. We still have some potholes in town. But we need to improve, really. And the whole municipality, they were not ready. Even the community service, they were not ready. But we need to improve going forward because grass cutting has not been cut in most of the areas. So we need to improve and go forward. Also, ourselves, TM, we have also failed as a leadership because we are supposed to have a readiness. Normal, that used to happen, a month before, councillors and administration have a readiness meeting. Is a grass cut, the potholes, stormwater clean. We didn't do it, Jason, so we also failed. Otherwise, thank you very much. The Oyster is proceeding well, TM and your team. I'm happy for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Low, let me suppress you, man. We actually have passed this item. So I just wanted the manager to give us some report on that. So let's go to the next item, 6.3, on page 49. Environmental performance report for January to February and March. Director? Acting Director, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I will ask Ms. Worth to take us through the environmental management report. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair, Acting Director. I think it's really difficult to report after Lungi's given her report, but we're just going to bathe in her reflected glory for a moment. Chair, on the climate change adaptation plan, which is the first item on the SDBIP, the comment states that the final climate change adaptation plan will be presented to Council by the end of June.
Sorry, just before you proceed, can we ask somebody to just close that windows, man, please? There's a lot of noise.
The first item is the climate change adaptation plan. The plan was to present the final climate change adaptation plan to council by the end of June this year. And I think we've had some strategic discussions with the director around this in light of the uncertainties, let's say, around certain infrastructural issues and challenges linked to the Section 154 process and the directives that have been issued. We took a decision to delay the presentation of the final climate change adaptation plan into the new financial year. I think a climate change adaptation plan is really looking at our long-term strategies for coping with climate change, and that is, things like drought, water supply, issues around waste management, pollution. So I think it's prudent at this stage just to give the chair a heads up and the committee that climate change adaptation plan is in advanced stage of development, but it's not ready for presentation to council. And that will also obviously be explained further in our final report for the year. And the second item is the EPWP. Contracts were signed the 21st of August and terminate the end of this month. In fact, the teams are working there this week. 2 members left for alternative employment and 2 were replaced, which meant that there were 2 outstanding. The training was completed, I think it was in March, as per the EPWP business plan. And the coastal management bylaw, the revised draft of the coastal management bylaw was advertised for public comment. That closed on the 16th of May. And the final bylaw was to be presented to council before the end of June. Similarly, we've had discussions with the director and our colleagues at Province, and there was a tremendous response to the advert for the coastal management bylaw. It's been advertised twice, so it's been out for public participation on 2 occasions. And I think it's prudent at this stage to delay the final presentation of the bylaw until the new financial year. It gives us an opportunity to do a thorough process. We've been advised by Province and by our colleagues at the district, because remember, this bylaw is linked to a MOU that we sign with the district that basically delegates the authority to draft and implement the bylaw to the local authority from the district. And in the current circumstances, the district is advertising their climate change adaptation plan for public comment currently. So it does seem premature for us to present the final version for council's approval now, while the district is advertising their bylaw or their climate change strategy. So I think that we've agreed with the director planning that will also be delayed until the new financial year. We've incorporated all of the comments. We have all the public's comments and all the officials' comments from the second round of public participation in a comprehensive document, and that will be presented to council in the new financial year. Our environmental education programs, we've exceeded the targets by 1. And I think that's largely due to the fact that we have a Grunsebenza intern. We're getting a new Grunsebenza intern for a 6-month period starting on the 1st of July. But our environmental education is exceeding the anticipated targets for the year. And then the final item, the blue flag. Blue flags were awarded in the 2023-24 financial year to Brenton and Buffalo Bay. But we have not applied for the coming season. And then in terms of expenditure, you'll see that most of the items in our budget are either overspent or on target or have small amounts left that still need to be spent before the end of the financial year. The exception being item 11, which is the 297,000, which was for environmental authorizations. Subsequent to the end of the reporting period, that amount has been allocated to the Bihai technical report that's required for flood mitigation. And then, Chair, with your indulgence, the SDBIP doesn't really reflect all the activities of the Environmental Management Department. We are increasingly playing a support role to our colleagues in waste management through the Section 154 process. And with your permission, I'd like to give an update on the activities undertaken by my department in that role. Section 154 identified the relocation of the waste transfer station as a priority for obvious reasons. We commenced with an application for a new site for the waste transfer station in March this year. 2 different sites were identified. Ultimately, we submitted an application to the Provincial Waste Directorate for relocation to the wastewater treatment works. An area adjacent to the sludge presses and the settling ponds was identified that would incorporate all of the structures, the conveyor belt, everything that's required to relocate the transfer station. That was submitted to the Directorate Waste Management at Province on the 10th of May. And we've not had a response from them, which is a little concerning, seeing it is quite an urgent situation, and the need to identify an alternative place in light of the eviction notices and various other things is obviously a priority. We have prompted them for a response, but in the interim, we are looking at other sites for the relocation of the transfer station. Also, not reflected in the SDBIP or in the budget is grant funding that was received from the National Disaster Management Centre in March this year. The Disaster Management Department alerted my department to an opportunity to apply for funding, which was successful, and in March we received a grant of 2.6 million. That was for the reconstruction of the Brenton Boardwalk. If you remember, in September last year, the entire boardwalk, the last section of the boardwalk, was washed away in the storm surge. It was rebuilt in a temporary nature just to accommodate tourists over the December season. And the 2.6 million that has been allocated to us is for the proper climate resilient reconstruction of the boardwalk. So in other words, it'll be designed with a sacrificial element on the coastal side that'll just be washed away in a storm surge, and we will not incur the major damages, hopefully, that we did in September. The challenge with this grant is that the majority of the funds need to be spent before the end of August this year. And as you know, we're in the middle of 2 financial years right now, so expenditure has been stalled, and we're hoping to catch up in July and August, but it will not be completed, and the funding will have to be rolled over. There is an inspection and a site visit tomorrow with the National Disaster Management Centre. On the blue flag item, we are applying for Green Coast for Swartvlei because I don't think the municipality is in a position this year to get the 2 blue flags that we traditionally have for Brenton and Buffalo Bay. And Green Coast has more lenient requirements, and it would mean that we go into the new season 24-25 with at least 1 beach that has certain minimum criteria for visitors. And then on the waste to energy, as you know, we conducted a feasibility study in 2022, which indicated that a waste to energy solution for Knysna would save us in the order of 18 million rand every year just in transport costs. The transaction advisor has been appointed by the supply chain department. They had a first meeting. We have not met subsequent to the inception meeting with the transaction advisor. But I urge council to encourage that process as an RFP would get us on at least a track, if not a fast track, to a waste-to-energy solution for Knysna. Because currently, waste minimization is not happening, and that would be the long-term solution for our current waste crisis. And I think that concludes my subsidiary items. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Just before we go, Councillor Low, CFO, do you want to respond with regards to the comment?
Stalling of
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Chair. I think, Chair, the grant that we are also referring to is the one that we're going to bring into the adjustment budget to tomorrow. What does it? That's why we have gotten that special meeting, to bring in that specific particular grant. As we have also indicated, the challenges that they are facing with the grant is just a short notice and it must be spent within a certain period of time. So I'm just raising those kinds of questions again because they should have done proper planning around it already to spend it. From a finance point of view, we have not stalled any expenditures. We have given notification for people that have already committed and planned accordingly to go ahead with whatever they're supposed to do in terms of their plans. But those ones that wants to do unnecessary procurement, as I'm calling it, procurement that is not, because it is a financial year end, hence we have said that those ones we are going to close to make sure that we close our books correctly. That's the only reason what we have said. Emergency expenditure that is needed for services will still continue. We'll issue requisitions, we'll issue orders. But for the ones that should have been properly planned, we have given notification on should have is the one that they're probably referring to. So they are maybe incorporating as a total stall. But it's not a stall, as you know, that there's grant expenditure that is still happening. There's INEP, there's a lot of other things. I'm just making an example that is happening. So those kind of things that are needed to be spent as spending, we are opening the system for those things to go through. So the specular with this one also, because we are bringing it to the council to do the adjustment, so it means how can we stall it? So I just wanted to raise it from that point of view. Hence, we are bringing it tomorrow. And it's not the only one. I think probably this is the right forum to also talk about tomorrow's meeting. We've also brought the one for tourism, the one that you have referred to, the around 18 million for all the skill development. So those are the two types of grants that we'll bring here. Although I'm still finding out around, I didn't want to bring it in earlier, but I'm still finding out in terms of the type of that grant, that 18 million grant, because it's discretionary. So should we bring it to council or should I wait for until we get the money? So I'm just raising it also as a point of things, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Low.
Thanks, Chairperson. I just want to get to this one of the transfer station. What you have said, what you are busy doing. You talk about you identified certain pieces of land, but I can say to you now, very straightforward. There was a land audit committee that they have go around here. And in that meetings where we go to site visits, there was no one from planning and come and say to us, or community service, that said, we need this piece of land because we want to move the transfer station. Yesterday, I was still visiting certain areas. The directors didn't even pitch. They didn't even send anyone. They doesn't care. Now today you come and tell us you already talk and visit 2 sites without even the land committee that know about the site that you visit. Maybe there's other plans on the sites that you identified. So your directorates on that base must get their ducks in a row. Because there was a committee, I even phoned the speaker, the mayor, about certain areas. And they were identified it for us. Because there is land that we identified. So I don't know, maybe you have your own land committee somewhere. The other thing I just want to say is that the transactional advisors, there was a council resolution. And what you have said, the transactional advisor is being appointed. You must fast track it, because I believe also there is a committee that they have to deal with it. And that you must fast track it. That process about this waste to energy. because the previous resolution, we have reviewed and rescind it. So the committee, I don't know who's the committee that are dealing with it, or with the transactional advisors. So you can fast track this process that we talk about waste to energy fields that we want to see must happen. We are not going backwards on it. We just have to fast track it, get the committee that are dealing with it, so they can deal with it. And so that transactional people can come and advise the council around the whole thing. So we can know where we are standing as a municipality. So that will be my stake, Chairperson, because it's very important. We need a new transfer station. That's one thing that we need. Because we can't depend on someone else's land. Secondly, the waste to energy. Council have taken a resolution. We as administrators just have to implement that resolution and come back to us and say, this is where we are. This is the process. This is the hiccups. So then when council can make informed decision around the whole process. And because we need it. So mine will be, the other one I want to talk about, the Bira River. I see that we advertised for RFQs, but we didn't have money for it. And it failed twice because we need the clearing of that area. When I talk about the Bira River that is through only, you go to next to the golf club. That is where it runs through. You pass the land of Colarossi, on the left-hand side of the land of Colarossi.
Sorry, Chair, can I, sorry.
It is here on the agenda.
Yes. Can I ask you to park that because there is an item on the
Okay,
back.
sorry, Chair. But the other ones, it's about the transactional advisors. I know that there's a committee. I don't know who served, or maybe you are serving on that committees, and Rico served on that committee. I don't know who's other people, but you must fast track the process because we need the waste to energy in our town of Knysna. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Low. I'd just like to comment on, when you onto my department, I need to protect also.
I'm not onto your department. No, Chairperson, you are wrong. I'm not onto your department. I raise an issue and a comment around it. So it's not that I attack Mrs. Boom personally. No, I talk here as a councillor about the councillor resolution that was taken and how we have to fast track process. You also complain about we don't fast track certain processes. When you deal with the community service director and Matika is dealing with the direct infrastructure, I was quiet. Now I raise certain issues now. Now you want to be in the defensive mood. No, Chairperson, you're totally out of order.
I can never be out of order. Just on the point of view with regards to the transfer station and the relocation of the transfer station, remember Mrs. Booth pointed out that the reason why they are looking at alternative land is because it is one of the comments made in the section 154. Therefore, they need it. And that thing needs to be fast-tracked. So it's not about the fact that they are undermining the Land Audit Committee or the land that has been identified by the Land Audit Committee. They are being guided through the section 154 to fast track and to look for alternative land. So I just wanted to point that one out and make that comment clear, or clear it out with you. Thank you. Can we note the report?
Chair, my hand is still up.
Okay, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, exactly what you said now was the reason I put my hand up, but I've got more to say now. Councillor Lowe is being extremely unfair to refer to visits of the Land Audit Committee and nobody saying that we needed a transfer station. They couldn't have known what was going to happen more than a year into the future. The 154 process happened last year when we had that absolute mess at the transfer station and the pollution. So at the time we did the site visits, none of that was on the radar. So yes, I agree with you there, Chair. Secondly, it's extremely rich for Councillor Lowe to talk about fast tracking the waste to energy when Chair, with the greatest of respect, you and Councillor Lowe are the ones who proposed that we rescind the council decision from December where we said the unsolicited bid should be advertised. That would have fast tracked the process, because if we had advertised that, other people with other solutions had a chance to comment. There would have been 30 days. The public could have had a chance to comment. It is you and Councillor Lowe who decided after months, no, you want to now rescind that. And that's where we are now. So we must stop putting pressure on officials when it's actually councillors who sort of went and put a spanner in the works of the fast tracking of the process. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Sabach. I take note. Sorry, my apologies, Councillor Campbell. I take note. No,
Chairperson, my name was mentioned by Councillor Campbell. I just want to rectify this thing. There was many times we know about the moving of the transfer station. We know about the lease of the transfer station, that it doesn't belong to us. We know about that a year back. And when we're visiting these certain areas, we know about it. So this thing of Councillor Campbell coming now today and said, no, we didn't know about it. We know about it. And that's why we even visit these areas. And it was even mentioned when we have our meetings that the housing is taking everything because the others are not there, they doesn't take part in it. Now, Councillor Campbell, myself and the Deputy Mayor did do that. So that's why we say to them, they must fast track that process with the transactional advisors.
Okay, thank you. Can we then note the report?
Yes, Chairperson.
Thank you. Let's move to the 6.4. It's a similar report to the one that's just for April and May. Can we note? Thank you. 6.5, PO 50624, Building Control Division Performance Report for the period of January 2024 to March 2024, quarter 3. Councillor Lowe.
I just want to ask something. Someone must help me here from the building department. How can we get our people can have these, what do they call it?
Councillor Lowe, just hang on a
No.
second.
Order, Chair. Chair, I believe that you are the chairperson of this portfolio, and Neil is very close to you. He got privilege for this question you have to share it with you, then you share it with your department. In your debriefing, you just bring it back to him so that we save time. He must make use of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chip, I just want to find out what is the possibility from planning for people to get amnesty, for amnesty, for building, and then they can submit their plan. What can we do as the council? Because why I'm raising this? Why I'm raising this is because some people have invaded land, and they are building now proper brick houses. So because if you look into Lower Pazula, that area, then Calendar Street, where Councillor White is always moving up and down, there's about 10 proper houses that people have built. And what will be the possibility and how can we deal with that? Because so then people can be registered. Then people can be registered then to pay rate and tax to this municipality.
Councillor Lowe talking about his own in-kind land that he's building.
Through you, Acting Director, to the manager.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, or afternoon, everyone. Councillor Lowe, I think it was a year or so back, we did one for amnesty period for Karatra. I think we previously said we were going to do an amnesty period for other areas, but in terms of our current financial status, Council must make the decision if they want us to bring an amnesty period again for certain areas in which areas we should concentrate on. But we must take cognizance also that with the amnesty period, we will need capacity. And currently, my department are already under capacitized. We currently have already 2 inspectors that's not been appointed yet, and it's gonna place a huge workload on my staff if we do amnesty period, because there's current people that will be paying for services and people that will have amnesty. And we will have to look at the applications in the same way as we look at that application. So I think cognizance must be just taken when we take such a decision, because we really need to capacitize in order for us to do certain stuff with regards to that.
Yeah, thank you. I think with regards to that also, because the areas where Councillor Lowe is pointing out now is where we will need to have a joint discussion with all your other departments, because it is in fact informal areas, and it needs to be, we have to look at the urban edge and the SDIP, SDF, town planning and so on, you know. So it will need to be a joint thing. Manager?
Chair, we should also look at, in certain areas, in a lot of areas, we've spoken previously to our housing department with regards to all the areas. Many of our areas where people want to submit in the northern areas, and I think there's areas such in Smutsville also where people, it's still on the municipality's name, many of the properties. Some are on informal areas where people are building, it's not formalized, there is no SZ diagrams or a general plan registered. So I think the speaker knows also about the previous situation when he was the portfolio chair, where we had such issue where someone wanted to comply in the area, and they could not submit because of the general plan that's not registered, and we really need to look at first starting those processes before we can also look at exemptions, because our process as the municipality needs to be first finalized so that those clients don't have issues when they need to submit those applications.
No, thank you. Noted. I think, you've got some work to do. Because I think the other day we were looking at the GIS, and we've pointed out specifically some parts in the northern areas where it shows that most of those properties are still within the name of the municipality. And people are struggling to get the title deeds, so they can't do anything due to the fact that they do not have ownership to those houses. So between housing and the properties department, they really need to start fast tracking that now. Manager?
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to bring this to the table. Most of that work is almost complete. But what has happened was there was a company appointed through PRT at the time, a land surveying company called VPM, which was appointed to do that. But at some point in time, that contract was then cancelled. And I have been trying to get at least an to approve a deviation. And the reason why I've been asking for a deviation is I don't want to start afresh because the work is almost done. Some of that, the land surveyor just need to submit to the SG, then we've got a registered property. But we can't now, because we have to start the whole process from start if we go and appoint someone else, someone new, who will now start to do that work. But there is a company that was appointed that is sitting with the work that is almost complete. but we can't appoint that company because we are not allowed to deviate so that we can have that company to finish the work. That's where we are sitting, and the expenditure, then it will kill us on the expenditure side, because if we have to start now with town planners and other land surveyors, then we'll spend more money than we will spend if we deviate. For me, it just makes sense to deviate, but I've not been able to get an approval to deviate because I'm worried about the expenditure side.
Yeah, just before I give you, Councillor Campbell, I think if my memory serves me right, and I need to pen, because this is not part of the agenda, but while we're on that, council, there was at one stage a presentation done in this council by a service provider that were willing to assist us with Kailami. How far did we came with that resolution? Or the implementation of the resolution?
It's being implemented as we speak, but now, at the time that Kailam presented, they said there's no cost to council for the implementation of that. Now, when they are to start, there is cost to council. But then the council resolution does not refer to cost. So we cannot now attach cost. Then it's better to actually go the normal route where we appoint through legal services than to now, because that council resolution doesn't say that Kailam is going to be paid.
Sure, it's weird because you're right, they did indicate that there's no cost. Speaker, before I give you, can I give Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, yes, I wanted to mention an amnesty doesn't mean that you, forgive or correct something that was done wrong. An amnesty means you give somebody a certain time within which they have to obtain the correct approvals, whether it's planning approvals, land use approvals, or whatever. So we would have to, other than capacitate the department, we would have to give preference to people who are on legal stands that have just not been transferred in their names, that are on the names of the municipality. Those are the people that have to be prioritized. We need to make sure that that is done. And I've listened to Mr. Petuna. I don't know why the contract was cancelled, but it certainly makes a lot of sense without wanting to interfere in supply chain. If somebody else has just about done the work, there must be a way. It certainly financially would make more sense to try and go ahead with those people, but I won't go further on that issue. People who just simply go and take land and build themselves proper houses, as I suspect is the case in Kalenda Street, we won't be able to assist those people. Where they've built would first have to become proper townships that are declared with proper subdivisions, plans, everything. And we're going to set a very bad precedent if we just allow people to build where they want to, and then we've got to come and do all the rest. We really have to, in this town, prioritize those people that have got houses or stands, but because of the municipality not getting to it, it hasn't been transferred into their names. We need to prioritize that. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. I hope you the relationship is still good because there was also one property whereby there was assistance given in Bihai. Councillor Speaker.
It's very clear that a relationship need counseling. The GNU need counseling. Neil, sort out your thing with Susan. Chair, you know my worry, Chair, about this issue, as much as you said it's not an item. I think, we need to take this thing serious because this is my second term, my last term, by the way. It means it's 10 years. We've been talking about this thing. I can assure you, new councillors, so to say that you're going to leave this thing hanging. In terms of title deed and what do we call that thing, general plan, it's been an issue. I've said that thing touched me emotionally because they are the rich people that our domestic workers are working for, that are willing to assist our people, but they are not title deed. You cannot get something from the bank if you don't have a title deed. I'm saying here, there was a lady that's close to be a pensioner at Tembridge High School, primary school. She only needed a title deed to build a house for her sons and family. That's all the department needs from her because she's close to pension. Then the department will assist further. Why do we continue building but we don't have a general plan? That's the first question. Point of departure, suppose we rectify those mistakes of the past. Now we are doing the same mistake of the past. We are doing it. I'm part of council. We create expectation. The next thing, someone wants to assist the family. Now it's us Maspalat because it's us Maspalat. Mark Valamse was sitting there. I don't know that company said that there is a company that's willing to assist in terms of title deed freely. But we still focus to lawyers and play it. Then the lawyers will keep those people. Maspalat does not have money to pay these people. While we have someone that's willing to say that I can assist you freely. I don't need anything. We need this thing also to centralize it. You cannot have title deed as corporate. You have title deed issue at housing. Let's start to centralize, consolidate. One point, where do someone come to a council and wants to know, where should I go for my title deed? That person who said, Kosana, go to that office. This thing of us, people go to here, next thing you say, go to tourism, to housing. We're playing with our people here. And we need to understand the one councillor, I have been voted here. And people want to change their lifestyle. That's the reason. There's a constitution. But it's like the way we are doing the oyster tickets. We are keeping everything close to our chest. Thank you. I won't leave you this.
Yes, Speaker, you are mooring me now. Okay. Okay. Any other comments? Or
Can we check that statement of Petun of this thing? What do we call it? Deviation. No, this deviation issue according is an issue. There are many things that came to council here. We say, we delegated stuff here. This the CFO is here. Can't they call this TMT? I think next time I must get these minutes of this TMT. Maybe they're just sitting there drinking coffee. Serious, because serious, this issue. Tomorrow they say that we are interfering, MFMA does not allow us as councillors to zoom in, but we give them power. They don't make use of the power.
Okay. Mr. Okay, through you, Director, Acting Director, to the MM and the TMT, because the whole TMT is sitting here. Can you please look at this thing of the general plans and the deviation and come back to us within the next council meeting, so just to give us a report back, because it is long overdue. We have been tackling this thing, as well as that one of the title deeds and VPM, and the other one that said that they're going to give us free title deeds, Kayalami or whatever. Give us a report on that. Yeah? Now we've got some proper work. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move. Where am I now? 6.6. Land use P060624. Land use Management Department performance report for the period of January 2024 to March 2024. Director, through you to the director, to the manager, land use management.
Thank you, Chair. Just in summary, you will note on page 63 our performance indicators, the STF. We started with the amendment process of the Municipal Spatial Development Framework Plan, and at that stage we were still on the brink to start with the local STF for Sedgefield, and we are also currently busy with a housing market study at the moment, so that process is also underway. And then further on in the report, Chair, if you look at the annexes on page 67, in terms of the progress statistics, Chair, you can note that there was a decline in the number of active applications from the previous reporting period. The number of applications exceeding the timeframes was also reduced. There is, however, an increase in the overdue planning reports that we need to look at. Furthermore, Chair, there's a reduction in the responses from applicants as well as municipal departments and authorities. So basically, in general, it's looking good. It's just that the overdue reports from planners we need to attend to. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Lowe.
Sorry, Chairperson, there's something that I want to raise here, but I don't want to raise it here. Maybe I have to talk to Randall Diamonds and you and your team outside this meeting. And we all know what is it all about.
For people are listening, we don't know, don't do that.
Okay, anything else, or can we note the report? Yes. Thank you. Then let's move to the last item on the agenda, the funding for Bongani.
I just quickly wanted to ask something on that report, please. Was it too late?
It's too late, we've already noted.
Okay.
But for just for clarity, I will allow you to give a comment, Councillor Campbell.
It's got more to do with the SDF because that was mentioned. Chair, obviously, I assume in the SDF, Pam was talking about the climate change adaptation strategy. A very important part of that in the SDF will be the coastal setback line. So I assume that will be addressed there and taken quite seriously. Thank you, Chair. That's just my only comment.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor. Let's move to 6.7 on page 68. P07/06/24 funding for the Bongani Rehabilitation Project. Pam, can you, through the acting director, can you take us through? Therefore, I've asked for the CFO as well as the acting director infrastructure also to be present through you, the municipal manager.
Thank you, Chair. Okay, so the Bongani was identified, probably 10 years ago already as one of the single greatest sources of pollution for the estuary. Then between 2020 and 2022, we undertook a series of studies. The first was the identification of interventions that are required within the full Bongani catchment. And as you know, it starts way up in the northern areas. It comes through quite a pristine forested area, Heidevallei, and then it discharges through the industrial area, through canalized sections, which are hardened infrastructures into the estuary. The rehabilitation plan identified a series of hard infrastructure interventions that are going to be required to basically polish the water, settling ponds.
Sorry, my apologies. Committee, can I just be excused for 2 minutes, man? I need to go to the toilet.
Can I get a break?
Okay.
Don't want to make me the chairperson here.
5 minutes? Okay. Officials, can we start? You can have your coffee next to you. There's only this one item left. We have started with it. Thank you for granting me the opportunity to visit the bathroom. Pam, you can proceed.
Thanks, Chair. So the Bongani rehabilitation plan involves a series of hard engineering solutions for pollution control. So it's water retention, it's weirs, it's geocell chutes. And the purpose of all of that is basically to increase the retention time of the water so that the pollutants can settle out, so that the final discharge into the estuary is not off the charts in terms of E. coli and other pollutants. So we have, over the years, requested funding for the implementation of the full rehabilitation plan. It's estimated to be around 5 million. And you'll see under the discussion that in the last 2 financial years, there has been insufficient funding, because initially, the first thing that needs to be done is proper tender specifications need to be drafted, and then the appointment of a suitably qualified engineer for the implementation of the rehabilitation plan. We already have the necessary water use license and the maintenance management plan. All of those authorizations have been applied for and received. We do need to check the expiry date on them because it has been a while. And then, of course, once these engineering structures and solutions have been put into place, they need to be maintained. And this is where the partnership with infrastructure services becomes important, because now we're talking about in-stream hard infrastructure and the long-term, 20-year maintenance. So we've applied to SALGA. I think that was part of our inputs during the Section 154 process. There was a separate slide, which you can see on page 69. The project scope, it was very brief. It was prevention of further pollution of the estuary from the Bongani stream. And we basically said the project budget is an estimated cost of 5 million, and that the impact would be pollution prevention. I do see on our provisional, I don't think the budgets have been approved yet, but the provisional budget indicates that there's 2 million allocated in the new financial year for the Bongani. Thanks.
Thank you. Any input? Or can we note the report? Thank you. I actually forgot there's one last item, 6.8 on page 70. The Bihai catchment. Update on it. When it comes to this one, I have visited that area a couple of times now, and with the lagoon that we are having constant issues with regards to pollution into the lagoon and the catchment being in that area. I believe there was supposed to be a working relationship between planning or the environmental department as well as infrastructure to start tackling the issues of Howard Street. I must stretch it here that I am a little bit disappointed by the fact that there is no what's the word now? Progress on that project. When you come from entering the Vigilance Drive on into, is it Howard Street, no? From George Rex to Howard Street, into Howard Street, just as you get to before the turn off towards the private hospital, that road acting director, have you visited that area? There is a potential zincle. I was standing there. And it's a threat. It's a threat at this stage, and it's gonna get worse. So what I've noticed is that your department, your guys only put some grid and stuff to support the road, but it needs to be rehabilitated. It needs to be rehabilitated. As you go around towards the golf course, it's having its own challenges. So I don't know whether both of you, Pam as well as the director, would like to respond to this report and find a way as to how we're going to deal with this constructively, because it doesn't give us any justice for budgeting for that specific area. But when it comes to the implementation, we do not spend the money as per the council resolutions. Therefore, I'm going to request again here today that between the two departments that you start implementing what council has resolved on, because I do not want to come back in the next financial year and Councillor Sabah or Councillor Willems or any other council for that matter, or the public at large, is going to complain about the very same thing whilst we have budgeted for it. And there's no appetite from the departments to address that particular issue. So, Pam, you first, and then I can, through my acting director, go to the other director through the MM.
Thanks, Chair. I really do sympathise with everybody's frustrations on this because, you know, regardless of the level of cooperation and communication between my department and infrastructure services, and we really have worked extremely closely. You know, Raymond Talmachis and I have been on site together numerous occasions, and since the manager, Roads and Stormwater, has come back, he and I have discussed this issue. I think my main frustration is actually with my own National Department of Environmental Affairs, because I submitted the maintenance management plan. And remember, this is separated into two different things. There's the maintenance of our own infrastructure, which is pipes, culverts, and things like that, which are compromised currently by a lot of reeds, a lot of silt that has accumulated over the years that has resulted in the flooding. And in order to just maintain our own infrastructure, in other words, dig out the silt and dig out the reeds from the culverts, and we've mapped every single one of them, every pipe, every culvert, we know the infrastructure that's there. In order to maintain that infrastructure, we have to have an approved maintenance management plan. If we dig out more than 5 cubic meters of soil from any culvert or pipe in that flooded area, we trigger a listed activity and we are subject to another directive. And the municipal manager does not want to be served with another directive at this particular point in time. There's already 4 or 5 on his desk. So we've been at pains to try and get all of the proper authorization before we get the municipality into trouble. And unfortunately, my colleagues at the National Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment are simply not coming back to us. And when they do come back, they request additional information. Now, I can send you a string of 25 emails to show the information that I have submitted in support of the maintenance management plan, and we still have not got an answer. So that's the one aspect. We cannot maintain the infrastructure beyond what we've already done under the Section 30A, which came to an end in January. So despite the fact that it looks like nothing is happening on the ground, there's all of this that is going on in the background. The Section 30A was a disaster request for approval because of the flooding, and it allowed us to dig out at 2 critical points to improve the flow. We did that, we removed all the sludge and the reeds and everything, and it helped a little bit. Aligned to that is a completely separate process, which is, and Sean Marie and I have had long discussions, and Raymond Talmachis as well, and this is about the ecological problems of flooding in the entire catchment. And to that effect, we've appointed Royal Haskonen and a freshwater scientist to draft similar to the Bongani, to draft a full assessment of what needs to be done in the Bechai catchment from the top to the bottom on the ecological aspects of the catchment, not the pipes and the culverts, the actual wetlands and the riverbeds, because we know the moment we dig around in there, we're going to get into trouble and we're going to get fined and we're going to get another directive. So the inception meeting for that is this Friday, and Royal Haskonen's local agent has been involved in flood mitigation and engineering services in Knysna for many years. So he comes with a wealth of experience. He's written previous reports commissioned by the municipality on the same catchment. So I'm hoping that through that process, we can identify physical structures that need to go into the Bechai catchment for a long-term plan that addresses flood mitigation. So if it means that we've got to put in a weir, we've got to put in additional pipes, the purpose of this RFQ is to identify those structures, and then we need to go through the environmental authorization. So unfortunately, what I'm telling you is not a quick fix. It doesn't mean that when this study is done, we can build the structures and we can go ahead. No, then we've got to undertake an environmental authorization. So all of these steps, again, are to prevent us from getting into trouble with the national authorities because we are positioned within the Garden Reef National Park. The requirements are even more onerous. It's to help us be compliant with the national authorities' terms and conditions in terms of environmental management. Now, the RFQ with Royal Haskonen and the freshwater scientist, that will give us an idea of how much budget is required in the outer years if we are to put in the same structures like we're going to do for the Bongani. And I think this is important because this is either going to be a MIG, it's a lot of money. 12 years ago, they estimated that it was going to be 38 million rand. So you account for escalation and price increases in materials, it's going to be a huge ask. So I think it needs to be noted that in the outer years, we're talking about 25, 26, 26, 27, and obviously onwards for maintenance, Council is going to have to allocate a substantial amount of money for flood mitigation in the Bechai. But we will only know that final figure once the study conducted by RH Royal Haskonen has been completed. I think that's it.
Anything to add from you, Director, or are you covered?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I actually also wanted the answers because I always tell my team what's happening there, and they are sending me or stating to me that Pam has all the answers. I think I've got most of the answers now in terms of why we see little progress in terms of the issue at Howard Street. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Chair.
Just before you go, Councillor Low, now listening to the report and the feedback that you've given with regards to the actual problem where it lies, it would bring me back to there is certain things that can be done apart from the wetland and the catchment itself. Now looking at the infrastructure like your road surfaces and so on, what is the possibility that we can work on that and work around it? Because mine is still, if you can recall, there was a time where we said, for instance, that this whole Howard Street is, whenever it gets flooded or it rains, people can't use that road. There's people that is living in only that works in that particular area. Then they have to go use an alternative route. So instead of them walking to work, within 15 minutes now takes them about 45 minutes because of the fact that they need to use an alternative route. There was a possibility of creating a temporary breach or something, but it was never actioned. It's things like that that I believe we can work on whilst we are waiting for National to come back to us with proper authorization. I've talked about this possible sinkhole and where the road is busy imploding, things like that that we can work on. But for us just to wait on the report and not doing anything is a challenge to me. So just note that, Councillor Law.
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm glad for the explanation of Pam. Chairperson, that problem of that area has come now for more than 35 years because I have walked that roads for 40 years. I have walked that roads for 40 years. You know, and some of you don't believe it, but it is the reality. For 40 years, I was walking that road. The Naisna municipality, the Naisna Golf Club, I don't know, the water that is flowing from all these areas down straight. Because you find on the left-hand side of our street, there's the wetland, and on the side of the golf club, there's another wetland. But also on that wetland, there's a bank. Because previously, some of the water go into that bank, and then from there, they go on the hole number 9. I think you know that because you also come and watch how people are playing golf when you accompany them. Through hole number 9, and according to my understanding, the golf club is taking that water now, so they want also that water to go under the road of there's an island, there's a drive to the sea. And when the sea is tide water, then the water come back. But mine is, how are we dealing with, there's a bank, because that most of that water going on the left-hand side of that bank. You see that bank that are on hole number 9, the big bank that are there. Now that water can't come now to hole number 9, but the water has been stored now there. And from there on, we don't have a catchment where it can flow. That is because the other streets go to Pazula. Because if that water is coming up, then even that road of Pazula will become a problem in the year's time. So we must see how we can take that water, because even if you build the bridge that the DM talk about, that it is not going to solve the problem. It will solve for people to get access to the other side, but the problems will still remain, because we have to see how can we take that water that can go into the lagoon side, because that bank is closing it now. So it will be on the right, on the left-hand side of it, but then from there on, we don't have a catchment where you can take it to the lagoon side. And that is the challenge that we are facing at the moment. Because what they also do, because they see the golf club is busy lifting hole number 9. So for them not to be flooded, because all the years that hole number 9 was flooded when it comes to winter time. But also we must remember that that area where we are in, Howard Street and where the water is always coming, it is under sea level. It is the only place in the whole world where a golf club is under sea level. And that area is under sea level. So we have to look into, for us, to build a catchment where they can take it from the other side, the road of Pazula side, to take it out. And that will be that is what is my thinking around the whole thing. Because I also see that the golf club is catching some of the water into these tanks, and they use it for watering the golf club. But we have to get that water that are on the left-hand side of that bank further away, because It's been installed there, so that's why it's coming back on the one side. If I'm correct when how I see it.
Okay. Pam,
Thanks, Chair. I think, Councillor, that's exactly right. The area between Howard and Wilson Street is the pinch point. So that reed bed behind the berm, behind that big high berm at the golf course, that is the area where the water comes down through the catchment and it just sits. It has got nowhere to go. Unfortunately, there is no infrastructure in that reed bed, so it's considered a natural system. Now this is where the challenge is, because the natural system also has its function. It does a polishing of dirty water. So it basically cleans all of the dirty water that's coming through the catchment in the Bechai, and we know the Bechai has got a long history of polluted water. So that reed bed is performing a function. And the National Department are saying to us, you cannot just open up that reed bed, because all of those accumulated pollutants from the last 40 years are going to be dumped into the estuary, and you're going to kill everything in the estuary. That's why the appointment of a freshwater consultant to tell us how best to facilitate the flow behind that berm so that it goes under Wilson Street, doesn't flood Wilson Street, it goes under Wilson Street and it discharges into the Duthie property. Duthie property, you've got another problem. Over the years, the Duthies have built all kinds of berms and impediments to the water going out and coming in. So the idea is that we have a holistic solution that improves the flow from the top of the catchment past the golf course, and the golf course has done amazing work in bringing and incorporating that water into a functioning wetland system within the golf course. But now we need to improve upon that and help the water that's sitting there discharge properly into the estuary. So, Councillor, you're absolutely right, and we're hoping to get that solution through the consultants that we've appointed and then implement their advice.
Councillor Lowe?
I just want to say something. You know, when you dig at the Neisner Golf Club, hole number 9, you dig 1.5 meters. It's like this whole area is full of water. The water is just coming up. You just have to dig 1.5. I know what I'm talking about because I was there. 1.5 in 3 days' time. You will think it's a dam. It's a dam in 3 weeks, in 3 days' time. Then you think, yes, but where the water is coming from? It's coming from underneath. But we have to seriously, Chairperson, we have to look into that because it is a problem. First, for the people that are staying there. Secondly, for the people that come to work in that area, you know, and we have to look how we can best, with the professional teams, to look into how we can deal with the problem that we are facing. And if we have, in the next budget, allocate more money to that area so we can deal with it, then we have to do that. Because that is very important. Maybe it's the GNU budget next year. Then we can deal with it because it's very important that we have to deal with the problem that are there. Or maybe it will be, I'm not going to say PBI and the DA budget, I don't know.
Okay. So in short, what you are saying, Pam, I've noted, Councillor, is that we are waiting on the consultant to guide you and to give us a report, also in liaison with the National Department. Okay. Anything else, Ward Councillor? Can we...
Chair, there's nothing further to be said. I think Ms. Booth gave a detailed report back, and it is a huge frustration. You can hear her frustration, and we need National to come on board because otherwise, you know, we cannot proceed. And if we do proceed, we're going to have further directives, as Ms. Booth has said. But this has been oncoming for an extended period of time, and that area extends all the way up the back end of the Fry's properties, all the way up. I mean, that stagnated water. The residents in that area have to live with that stench, that stale, stagnant sewage smell. And, you know, the communities that walk through the forests and down into the roads to get to work and stuff are also impacted by it. So it impacts everybody throughout NISA, really. and it really needs to be addressed. So, I mean, the frustration is completely warranted. I don't know how we push it further, but, you know, if it's a national level, then perhaps our esteemed executive mayor can apply some pressure like he does in other areas to get the work done. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just about to say, now that you're going to have the deputy president of the country being appointed, you can also. Hey, Judy. Okay, so can we then note the report, councillors, committee? Thank you. This then calls us to the end of this meeting. It is now 1 o'clock. Thank you very much for your participation in this meeting. Also to you, councillors Campbell, I hope that you're gonna get well very soon. And for those of you that is still going to enjoy the Oyster Festival, go and eat oysters, enjoy the comedy shows, enjoy the soccer this coming weekend. There's soccer festivities all around Satchfield. But enjoy the last of the Oyster Festival, drink wine, and drive safe. Ne? Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chair.